those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Hello, everybody, and welcome into a Thursday edition of Running Point on YSNLive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Got a real fun show for you on the docket. No Ty Bartell today, but that's okay. We'll grind along, and he'll be back with us tomorrow on the Friday edition of Running Point. But we start off today by welcoming in special guests, the newly appointed captains of the Lakeview volleyball team, Maggie Pavlansky and Carly Hahn. Guys, thank you so much for joining us today. How we doing?
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah, Lakeview volleyball has been one of the more dominant teams in the area the last couple of years. You guys have only lost one NE8 game in 3 seasons, which is just remarkable to think about. And now you guys are kind of the captains of this team to try to keep the success going. How does it feel to be named captains and to be shown that sign of respect from your team? And we'll start with seniors with Carly.
For me, it's definitely such an honor because being a senior just already comes with this responsibility of being a leader for your team. And just being appointed captain is kind of just like validates all that. And it's like, this is my senior season and I'm just ready to go.
And Maggie, you've been a leader on this team for a while, being the setter, and now it's this kind of another branch of the leadership responsibilities on you. So what's it mean to you to be given the role of captain and being the speaking captain on the floor?
Just like Carly said, it's such an honor to be captain of the team. I mean, it's, even though we're captains, it's just a title. I know that I just want to lead by example every day and just be there for my teammates.
How would you guys describe your leadership personalities? Like, what kind of leaders are you? And we'll start again with Carly, but how would you describe your leadership qualities?
I would say I'm not really the kind of cutthroat kind of leader. I'm more personal with the girls, which is needed sometimes, but I am working on being a little mean when I need to be, but hopefully it doesn't have to come to that.
Man, Carly, a little bit mean when she needs to be. That's scary. Maggie, what about you?
I'm definitely more focused. I mean, Carly, she is there to lighten everything up, I think. She is very fun to be around, and she's going to be a great senior for us this year. I just like to keep everything focused, get everyone together, and to make sure that we can succeed.
And I think people forget, despite how successful you guys are, it's still collectively a pretty young team that you guys are putting together on the floor. What's it like kind of meshing the upperclassmen with the underclassmen and putting together a successful team on the floor? And what's that kind of been like this year and last year? It's still a young team last year and this year. You only lost 2 seniors from last year's roster. So I imagine the expectations are still just as high.
Yeah, it's been a challenge this year, especially just because we have so many freshmen coming in. But we've done a lot of team bonding. We're actually doing something tonight. So it's really helping us to mesh together. And I think we're going to be a pretty good team together this year.
I agree. We have a lot of freshmen coming up, but they just come in every single day to practice and they work so hard along with everyone else on the team. And that has just helped so much with us team bonding. And we also have done a lot of team bonding together. And that has helped us a lot to mesh and become better friends and just be able to play volleyball together, honestly.
We get to see a lot of your team bonding on Instagram and the social media presence that your volleyball team has. What have been some of your favorite team bonding experiences so far this summer?
For me, I love just driving around and doing like stupid little things in like the parking lot or just like down the street. And my team won this year, so that makes it a little bit better.
Raise that flag.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yesterday too, we had quite the team bonding experience. Shout out to Coach Nate. He set up a surprise escape room for us in the locker room, and it was just one of the most thrilling team bonding experiences that I have had. So,
When we talked to Coach Guthrie, there was some talk about some warnings that she got about on her door, the warning letters that said we'd get you next time, and to keep her on her toes. What kind of things are going on with that mission and trying to? She says that every year you guys do something to her house. Can we disclose some details on that mission? Is it still ongoing, or are we still trying to get Coach Guthrie?
That is definitely still ongoing. A little bit of confidential information.
Confidential.
But she'll see tomorrow.
Confidential information. What's not confidential is some of the key members that you're returning from last year. And Maggie, you get to work with these hitters so much, and you get to build the relationship with them and get them in sync. What's it like kind of having a second year with a lot of the young hitters and being able to just build even more of a relationship with them and more of a syncness to your offense?
yeah, for the most part, the majority of our hitters are all the same because only one graduated and one coming up. But, we just try to make each other better every day. I mean, I talk to my hitters all the time, and we just try to make each other better every single day.
And Carly, for you, what kind of things excite you about being able to have so many players back from last year? Like Maggie said, you only lost 2 seniors, so it's a lot of camaraderie, I imagine. What's it like having almost everyone back from last season?
It is such a blessing. Like, we're all so close already. It just makes it so much easier to mesh together and incorporate some of the new freshmen coming in. And Maggie's just such a blessing to work with. And I'm really excited to get to play one last season with my friends.
Yeah, and one last season in that gym that we all know is just a hot box because we've been in there, especially in the heat of summer. You got to tell us what kind of home court advantage that kind of entails when you guys, you're used to the heat of that gym, and maybe other teams come in, they're so used to their air conditioned, comfortable gyms, and they have to come into Lakeview. I gotta imagine by the third set you can see other teams sweating and getting about a second slower than you guys.
Yeah, it's definitely an advantage. So it's just so nice when we get to go to other gyms and there is air conditioning. But we're just so used to it. It makes it easier for us to pull through when we get to games where it's like we're going to 5. So it does make it a little bit easier on us.
Yeah, our home court advantage is definitely an advantage towards us, I think, just because we're used to practicing in there every day, and we have our mop and we have our sweat towels, and it works out.
You guys have gone through summers in that gym. Does it still take a couple of days to get used to it when you're back into conditioning in that gym, or are you guys veterans and when summer comes along and you have to go practice in that gym, there's no problem with it? You guys are really adapted to it, or is there still a couple of days that your bodies have to get used to the heat of that gym?
Oh no, there's definitely a couple of weeks where I will be sweating. But eventually, it does get a lot easier because we do a lot of conditioning, a lot of working hard towards getting that advantage and getting used to just the conditions in there.
Yeah, we do like Carly said, we do a lot of conditioning and a lot of weightlifting and just lots of playing in that gym. So we've come accustomed to it. I think the first few days always hit us in the face. We're like, whoa, but it gets better as time goes on. and as the season goes on, it does cool down. So yeah.
Carly, you're a senior, of course. What are some of the memories that you have in the last 4 years with this program that have really, well, I should say 3 years because your fourth year is just beginning. The last 3 years with this program, what are some memories that you're going to hold on to for a lifetime?
A lot of my favorite memories, there's always like the team bonding stuff, but I always loved going to the YSU camp we go to in July, where we would stay the night for 2 days, and it would just be like a big tournament. Unfortunately, we didn't get to do that last year or this year, which was a bummer, but it really just like brought me closer to the team as an incoming freshman, and I'm really excited for the girls to get to do that next year because it was just fun, such a fun experience for me.
And Maggie, obviously you're not a senior yet, but what's it like to try to work so hard to give the senior class last year and this year a season they can kind of remember forever? I mean, do you, as an underclassman and as now as a junior, do you ever feel kind of any pressure to kind of do it for the seniors and make sure that they're having a season that they can remember?
Yeah, I guess you could say, you could call it pressure, but I think I just want to do it for her. Like, for like the seniors that are there, no matter who it is, whether there's one or whether there's like 5 or 6, like it's their season. So we just want to make it the best as possible for them. And I want to make sure everyone knows, like, this is for the seniors. Like, this is their last season playing volleyball. So especially for Carly, because she's just been so awesome the past 2 years I've played with her, and including this year. So I just want to do it for her.
Now, we've had some fun with Coach Guthrie, but talk about this coaching staff and what it means to be under them and some of the things that they've really helped you guys in growing, not just as a volleyball player, but I imagine they've given you some life lessons too.
Yeah, since 7th grade, we've just had such a great program. And it really just, I mean, I've learned so much over the years, and I'm really grateful for all 3 of our coaches now. And I'm excited to have the whole season with them.
Yeah, as far as high school goes, I mean, our junior high too, like it was just awesome with Mr. McDivitt and Mrs. Schnurberger. Like they are both amazing coaches. And like with my high school years, like Coach G, Laney, and now Coach Nate, they have all just been so awesome and so hopeful and so encouraging. It's just been really good, and I'm super happy to have them.
And you both talked about the junior high program. Do you think the established success that the varsity level has made more and more younger kids excited to come into the high school volleyball realm? And do you see kind of more and more excitement and engagement from the junior high as years go on and this team gets more and more established success at the varsity level?
I think so, definitely. Even now you can just see an increase in how many people are just even trying out. Like we have this huge freshman class coming in. I heard there was like 25 girls who tried out for the 7th grade team. And every year we always see more and more girls come and watch us. And so that's just really great to see that they look up to us, and one day maybe they'll even play varsity.
Mm-hmm. And I would say too, a part of that plays into the volleyball camp we have every June. We like this year, I want to say that we had like about 70 girls. So like they just look up to us so much, and they have so much fun there, and we get to watch them play in junior high too, and it's just awesome for them and for us.
And Carly, you're a senior, and every senior kind of talks about the program being better when they left than it was when they were there. So all that being said, I mean, how proud are you knowing that when you do graduate and you do leave the program, that you know that because of the work that you have put in and because of the work that all your teammates have put in, that the program success is not going anywhere in the near future?
It's definitely inspiring. I'm just so excited to see where they come in a few years, because I've put so much into these 4 years and I've worked so hard, and I really hope that, I mean, last year was kind of a testament to Mara and Anna, who did the same. So I'm just really excited to see where they come.
Maggie, that last name Pavlansky is such a big name in the area athletics. You got to talk to us a little bit about what it's like to be part of that clan and to be part of that athletics family, and give us some insight on what it's like to be in it.
Yeah. I just have so much family around the area. Like my dad and all my uncles all teach around the area. So does my mom and my cousins. They're older than me. Like Annie played, like she graduated in 2018, and then I had cousins that went to Boardman and Canfield, and I have a lot of family. I'm trying not to forget anyone, but we like I'm just so blessed to have them because they have just shown me like what it should be like to play sports and how to represent your school and your community well. And I just want to be like them.
That's the next thing I want to talk about, the Lakeview community. I mean, we saw so much outpouring of support for you guys on our platform last year because obviously people couldn't go to games. But this year, you guys are expecting, full capacity crowds, hopefully knock on wood, and you're going to be able to feel the full support of the community. How exciting is that to have them back in the stands and be able to build off the energy of the crowd?
I'm so excited. And thank you so much last year for coming out so often. We all really had a great time with that. And it was so cool to see us all like on the news and stuff. But I'm definitely excited because now, especially for my senior year, my friends can come watch, and because they didn't get to see any at all last year. So it was a little hard to push through sometimes, but I'm really excited this year.
It's super exciting for all of the like fans to come now because last year like it didn't seem empty just because we were playing. Like it didn't, like, for me personally, it didn't matter too much. But like this year, I'm just gonna be so excited to see everyone there, like all of my family, all my friends, like the student body. Usually we get a good amount of them to come, so it'll just be really fun. And I'm excited for Carly, obviously, and everyone else that's playing because it'll be something we didn't experience last year, and well, crossing our fingers, but yeah.
One of the things that we always like to talk about with players is what's kind of the favorite hangout after a game or the post game meal, because I know you guys play at 5 or 6, so not a lot of time to get a good meal before a game. What's the good post game snack or post game meal that you guys like to have after a tough volleyball match?
Usually our coach will always bring like little bags of candy and stuff to games, so we'll always be snacking. But we go to El Torero in Cortland a lot. They probably know who we are by now.
Yeah, our coaches definitely take care of us, but yeah, we do go to El Torero sometimes after like scrimmages or games to hang out as a team. And if I'm going home like by myself, like after a game, I like having my mom's home cooked meals. So yeah.
Well, wait, now every parent has to bring snack bags. So, whose family brings the best snack bags of the team?
Maggie's grandma, she always makes us chocolate chip cookies and brings them to almost every game. Last year she did, and they're so good, and it pumps me up.
You agree that the chocolate chip cookies from grandma the best, Maggie?
Yeah, they are very good, and I am extremely thankful for her making them. She made them a lot last year, and I was super thankful for them. And she's just so sweet, and they are delicious.
All right, before we let you guys go, what are some team goals that you guys have set for yourselves this year and you really want to see the team accomplish?
One thing I feel like we do struggle with a lot is our mental game. Like if one person is just having a bad day, they might shut down, and then we have a hard time bringing the energy back up. So we've been working on that a lot this year. We've been doing a lot of mental stuff, a lot of communication stuff. So I'm really excited to see that improve, and hopefully we go farther this year.
Yeah, I would say our team goals would be to win our conference again and to make it far in tournament. Like we just want to win. Like we want to succeed, and I think we can accomplish that. Like with what Carly said, like if we improve our mental game and just stick together as a team, I think we're gonna be okay.
And we know volleyball communication is so important. What are some of the favorite things that you guys do as a team to strengthen that communication skills? I know there are a lot of drills that teams do. Well, what are some of the favorite things that you guys do to help the communication factor on the volleyball court?
One of my favorite things that we do is when we'll just be playing, but only one class is allowed to talk at a time. So like only the freshmen will be allowed to speak at all, and everyone else just has to be silent, and then we'll move up. And it's really funny when there's like our sophomores, we only have 3 of them, or with me, it's just me. So it's really funny to play with only a few people talking, but it just proves how important communication is in the game.
Yeah, that's one of our more fun drills for sure, like with Carly talking by herself. But I would say just like when we play, like just getting excited for each other, like that helps communication in itself. And like as long as like a few people step up, like others tend to follow. So it all works out.
All right, guys, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. We definitely look forward to covering you guys this season and seeing Lakeview continue their success that they've had for the many years. And we expect nothing less this year from the Bulldogs. So good luck this year, and thanks again for taking the time to join us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right, that was Maggie Pavlansky and Carly Hahn, the newly appointed captains of the Lakeview volleyball team. Maggie a junior and Carly a senior. And man, Lakeview's success over the last handful of years, especially the last 3 years of the NE8, has been unprecedented. They've only lost 1 conference game in the 3 seasons that the NE8 has existed in volleyball. That's what you call domination. And we've already talked to Coach Guthrie earlier on Running Point, and now we get a chance to talk to some of the leaders of the team. And when you talk about those leaders, it's got to be something good to have. So we'll take a quick break, and we'll be back with the Poland boys soccer coach, Brian Garkar, joining us next on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
At Greenwood Chevrolet, shop with confidence knowing we're ready to go the extra mile for you. With the largest selection of used vehicles in the Valley, backed by the Greenwood Advantage Warranty. Only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
New things happen all day. Some are good, some not so good. In today's complicated world, while you're busy working, playing, and living life, we're busy helping you make sense of the day's news. And there's only one place where it comes together with clarity, context, and accountability. It's 21 News at 6 with me, Madison Tromler, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 6. It's what the day's news really means to you.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring. And, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Hi, this is Jim Myers with Myers Family Insurance, your local Medicare and retirement resource. We're excited to have sports back. Whether you're on the field or cheering from the stands, sports unifies communities and brings hope for the future. We're all one team working together. At Myers Family Insurance, we know the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is October 15th through December 7th. Now's the time to make sure your plan continues to meet your needs for the upcoming year.
Call today.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa. And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing. Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships. We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team. Your goals, our game plan. Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Welcome back to the Thursday edition of Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. They go the extra mile for you. Anthony Hartwig joining you today as the host of Running Point, and want to remind everyone that the comment section is live no matter what platform you're watching on, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, or YouTube. Make sure to let us hear from you. And also, the MPVO Heating and Air Conditioning fan line is open. 330-886-0813 is the number to call. We would love to hear from you. And someone we're going to hear from next, the Poland boys soccer coach, Brian Garkar, joining us on ysnlive.com. Brian, we know you so well from all the Poland athletics, but we get to talk to you for the first time on Running Point. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
And when we talk Poland boys soccer, you guys have been so successful the last couple of years. Give us a little bit of scope of what's gone into that and what you guys are bringing back this year to sustain that success.
Sure. It always starts with our players. They put all of the work in the off season to get themselves better individually. And they give us a great group to start the season in August every single year, and we just try to pick it up and put all the pieces together. This past year we graduated 11 players, and 11 key players to our success for what we had last year and the year before. So there's going to be a few growing pains at different points, but we bring a lot of talent back. Our JV group last year was undefeated, so those guys should be able to step right in and contribute right at the varsity level very quickly. And we do bring 9 lettermen back and 5 or 6 starters. So, we have high expectations for this group, and we're just going to grow as a group every single day, every single week, every single game.
That's such a unique set of circumstances to graduate so many, but still return so much experience. I'm sure there's still going to be some new leaders that you're going to lean on this year. Who are some of the new leadership roles or maybe advanced leadership roles, taking that next step as a leader that you're going to lean on this season?
Sure. I'll start with Noah Huda. Noah Huda was a sophomore last year, and he was an all-state player in Division II. He's just a really special player, and not only is he a great player, but he's a great leader. For as good as he is on the field, he works just that hard at practice every single day, leading by example and communicating with our players. We have 3 going to be 4-year lettermen, Joe Iberis, Wyatt Bobby, and Tyler Antill. They've been around for 4 years in different roles over the last couple of years, and this year they'll be kind of asked to take on a little bit more leadership role, just by their actions on the field, at practice, just making sure guys are doing what they're supposed to do. But we play about 16, 17, 18 guys every single year. So although we graduate 11, we always feel like we're never having to go through a full rebuild just because we're getting 7, 8, 9 underclassmen some extra minutes every single game, every single year, so they could just take that next step. So even those guys who maybe I didn't mention are going to be responsible to bring that leadership for that next group of underclassmen that we're going to bring into the fold this year.
All the coaches we've talked to so far have just talked about how good it is to be back to a normal summer for their soccer program. Talk a little bit from your perspective from the Poland program, what it's been like to have a normal summer back and to be able to do all the things that you would like to do to prepare for the season.
Yeah, last year was difficult. No real off season, no preseason. We relied on those 11 seniors to really get us through those first couple of weeks, to stay organized, worked hard every single day so that we could simulate as much as possible in practice what we would see during the season. This year obviously was different, and not only did we have our off season and preseason back, but the OHSAA did lift the 10-day restriction, so we were able to space out a little bit more what we wanted to do. Normally, when we have those 10-day restrictions, we try to keep them more in July, just so it leads into the season into August. We were able to spread those practices out through June and then July. So we weren't trying to overwhelm our players, trying to get them back into the fold, knock off some of the rust, but also be able to attend some different tournaments and really try to put our team against some of the best teams in Northeast Ohio to get them ready for August.
What's it been like for the sophomore class that hasn't been exposed to a varsity level summer to kind of be almost freshmen again this summer and be exposed to a summer schedule that's back to normal? So I imagine in that sense, you almost have 2 freshman classes in your freshmen and your sophomores, getting them up to speed for what the summer is asked of them.
Yeah, you're exactly right. We were talking at a parent meeting a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago now, about how we were assuming that our sophomores, juniors, and seniors kind of knew the expectations going in, but our sophomore group, like you just said, is really a freshman group at this point. And luckily last year we had a great leadership group. Those 11 seniors really held our team together, really pushed us through, got those freshmen last year caught up to speed. So our sophomores have an idea of the expectations of our program, but maybe some of those little details that we didn't have an opportunity last year to really talk about and walk through, they're now experiencing that now. So it goes back to our senior group now and our junior group who have been through a full off season and preseason for our program to really try to get those kids caught up to speed so our program is as successful as it can be.
In a sport like soccer, I imagine conditioning is so important. Talk about the conditioning program that you put your team through and some of the things that you guys do to help, keep the legs under you through a full soccer season.
We put a lot of it on our players to get their bodies into a position where they know they can be successful. I'm not a big proponent of conditioning during practice, so we do put that responsibility on our players, but we do run our practices where conditioning is part of most of the drills and activities that we do. We ask our players to go as hard as possible for an 8-10 minute spurt so that they're using, not only are they getting something out of the actual drill itself soccer wise, but they're using that to build up their conditioning. A couple of years ago, we made the decision to start to play a little bit differently as a group. I mentioned before, we play like 16, 17, 18 guys, and that helps us really save legs throughout the season. It is a long stretch, playing 16 games, sometimes playing 3 games a week. It's a long stretch going throughout these couple months, and being able to save a few minutes here and there for all of our players, even some of our starters, they get a little bit of a break every single game. So by the end of the season, they're a little bit fresher than some of the teams we go against, and they're also fresher towards the end of the game. So we're building conditioning within our practices, but we're also trying to save our bodies a little bit where possible throughout the season, just to make sure that we're as fresh as can be come tournament time.
Just a follow-up to that, putting the conditioning on the players themselves and saying you're accountable for that. Do you think that makes your players a little bit more understanding when they are asked to be accountable for other things and the accountability factor of your program? Do you think that raises the bar to how accountable your kids can be when you're saying you're accountable for your own conditioning?
Yeah, I absolutely do. I think we're at a point now in our program where the kids know the expectations. We expect to be successful every single year. We want to be competitive in every single game that we play. And in order to reach that level, we need to put our time into the drills that need to improve our soccer abilities so they can condition, lift, whatever they need to do to keep their bodies in peak performance throughout the season. They need to do what's best for them. Like a student in school, in a classroom, every player is different. Some guys can show up to a game and can play the entire 80-minute game and have done very little conditioning. And some guys need to really put that work in to make sure their body's where they need to be. So we're again putting that accountability on the players, and our players have stepped up to it. We've done that the last couple of years. They've taken on that responsibility, and I think the results show themselves.
The soccer coaches we've had on so far have just told us about developing the youth programs and how important that is to a high school program, considering that most schools don't have a junior high school affiliated program in itself. What does Poland do to kind of develop the youth and get them as developed as possible before they get to you as freshmen?
We're fortunate that we have one of the better travel programs in the area. So a lot of our players, they'll play youth or rec when they're younger. And then when they become U10, U12 players, so when they start to enter those middle school grades, they join our travel teams. And those travel teams are competitive, and they travel around the area and play other travel teams in this area. So we've been fortunate since I've taken over to have some of the better travel teams, which then helps our ability as high school coaches, because those kids have now played against some of the best competition in the area. We try to develop a relationship with those younger kids just to, so we start to meet them, introduce ourselves, work with them. We do a youth camp in the summer, again, to try to work with them and get them excited about what Poland high school soccer is about.
And I imagine the success of the varsity level has to help with getting the youth excited to be a part of it, because it's a lot easier to get excited about a team that's going out there and winning than it is to try to gear up for a team that's struggling. So I'm sure that you see a lot of excitement from the youth just because of the success of the varsity program.
You're exactly right. And, when you're winning games, you see more people in the stands. And, last year we were undefeated throughout the regular season, and it was a little bit unfortunate because of COVID, because I think we would have seen a lot more of those younger players trying to follow the team, as we worked our way throughout the season. But every single year we see kids in the stands, guys that we have at our youth camp. We have our youth camp in June. Usually we see those guys coming back in August, September, and October, getting excited in the stands, really cheering for our guys. And we try to have our older guys, our varsity players, develop relationships with the younger players as well. So, when they're seeing each other just around the city, in stores, maybe even just going and attending those younger players' games, we're developing that relationship that's not just 9 through 12, but maybe 7 through 12 or even younger.
Yeah, and just to piggyback on I want to talk about that undefeated season last year, and such a peculiar year where so many things were different. What was it like going through that regular season and having the undefeated regular season, as you said, and being able to have that success? That must have been such a proud moment as a coach to see your kids push through a lot of adversity that COVID kind of brought and be able to finish the regular season undefeated.
You said that right. I mean, there wasn't a lot of adversity, and we were fortunate to be able to take it game by game. We were able to get our entire full 16-game season in, which not every team could say they were able to do that. But again, I'll go back to those 11 seniors. They really held things together for us. And also our underclassmen. They stepped up to the responsibility of what was being asked of them. And we knew as we were winning more games, the target becomes bigger. So being able to step up every single game and do what's necessary, not always perfect. I mean, we did not play perfectly towards the end of the season, but we did enough to make sure that we were getting the results that we needed. And that helped us carry into the tournament. And we thought we had a pretty good tournament run, and we just got caught a little bit short in that district final game.
Yeah, and now that target gets even bigger, I imagine, coming into this year, and you're going to start with that big target day one. What's that mentality going to be like, knowing that everyone that played you on your schedule is going to be gunning for you because you were the team that went undefeated last year?
We've been on both sides of that. We've been the team chasing one of the best teams in the area, and we've also now we're in that situation where we're being chased by other teams. And I think it's a discussion we need to have as a group. We haven't really had that with our varsity kids yet because we're still trying to figure some things out. But they need to know they got to bring their A game every single day. Starting on Saturday, we have our first scrimmage against Chagrin. And we need to set the tone starting on Saturday that this is how things need to be played. We need to play for a full 80 minutes. We can't spot teams any goals, and we have to be ready to show up every single minute of every single game. We've tried to build our schedule in a way where it's going to get us ready for the tournament, but then that also means that you're going to have to play 16 games of 80 minutes in order to be successful.
Poland is a bigger school, but still plenty of multi-sport athletes in your program. What's it like working with the other coaches in the athletic department and making that move seamless with sharing athletes and never having conflicts of, this kid's playing soccer, but I want him to play, basketball in the October. What's it like working with the athletic department and having that seamless coaches relationship with the athletes that do play multiple sports?
Communication's vital, and working with our athletic director, Brian Banfield, has been, he always takes that communication very seriously. Just trying to make sure that we're not overwhelming the kids. I mean, we all want our kids to be at everything, but we also don't want to drain them before any season actually starts. So we try to compromise as much as we can. We talk to each other. I talk to the basketball coach, the football coach, and, baseball during the spring, just to make sure that we are, we know where our players are at. We're not overwhelming them too much, but we're still getting out of them what we can to make sure that all of our programs in the athletic department are successful.
Talk about your growth as a coach over the years and some of the things that you've learned and been able to absorb, not just as a soccer coach, but you've been able to work with Nick Blanch and the girls program. And what are some of the things that you've been able to really grow in the last several years of being the varsity coach?
When I first took over, I was really young when I took over, and I thought you had to put countless hours into everything, every little dimension of the game. And we were successful early on, but it was draining for our players and for myself. And I think as I took over more and more and looked into the details of what our program is, I realized sometimes that less is more. We're starting to practice now 90 minutes instead of 2 straight hours or 2.5 hours. We decided instead of conditioning during practices, which is something that we would have done when I first took over, let's just build it within our practices. Let's put as many skills as possible together within our drill, so we're maximizing the time that we're there. You mentioned Nick Blanche, and Nick's a good friend of mine, and I've had the pleasure of working with him for the last couple of years. And he the organization that he shows, I try to use in my program too. Communication with the players is vital. So, all those little details add up when it comes to being successful programs. And I try to emulate all of those different great coaches in our area and try to do little bits and pieces to try to fit our program.
The head coaches get the light shined on them, they get the interviews, but I know they're nothing without the assistants that work with them. Talk about your whole coaching staff, whether it be the JVs, the people that work with the youth, and all your support system and all the coaches that work with you that kind of make this program possible. Shine a light on some of them.
So I'm going to start with Bill Storkel. Bill Storkel's been with me ever since the beginning when I took over. So this is our 10th year together. He's our JV head coach. He's my varsity assistant. We talk almost probably every day, every other day now that the season actually has started. We talk a lot more too, just to make sure that our entire program is where it needs to be, making sure we're monitoring our players, making sure that if somebody is not feeling well or if they're injured, we're taking care of things. He's been my right-hand man since the beginning, and I owe a lot to him to get through these 10 years. Zach Nemeth, we brought on board 2 years ago. Zach was a player for me. Graduated 2 years ago. He's a goalie-specific coach, and we never really had one of those until he came on board. When Zach played, he was one of the best players in the area, one of the best goalies in the area. So being able to bring him on board to actually work with our goalies. So not only did we have one of the best goalies in the area a couple of years ago, we think we have probably the best goalie coach in the area right now working with our goalies. He puts in countless hours trying to make sure that our guys are where they need to be, our goalies are where they need to be, and he also works with some of the younger goalies too in the middle school grades, so that when they come up to the high school, they can jump right in and not have any faults there. I mean, our travel coaches also, I can't thank them enough. There's so many of them over the years that have all had a small piece in the success that we have had, and then just support system. My family has been amazing throughout these 10 years. Mr. Banfield and the Poland administration have been amazing, every step of the way, especially as a young coach, helping me get through those first couple of years, and now just the support that they've shown over these last couple of years when we've had a lot of success.
You talk about your goalie coach, and the more we talk to soccer coaches, the more I kind of understand that not anyone can just go back there and be a goalie. It takes a kind of special personality, a special mindset. What kind of things kind of go into coaching up a goalie, and what kind of personality does it take to kind of be back there and be a goalkeeper?
It is a different position. It's unique compared to all the other ones. All the other 10 positions on the field are involved in the game in some way, pretty much for the full 80 minutes. They might not be always passing the ball the entire time, but the movements they have to show during the game are vital to the success of a program. We've been in games where the goalkeeper has had to make one save at one specific moment, and that's made the difference in our game. So to be a goalkeeper, you have to be incredibly focused. You have to be engaged throughout the entire game, even when you're not really part of the game for stretches. And it's just a unique ability to be able to play with your feet, but also have the coordination with your hands and your upper body to make saves. And again, like I said, you might make one save. It might be one specific play that you're involved in that makes or breaks if a team wins. Soccer is kind of a funny sport like that, where you can dominate an entire game, but the opposing team gets one goal snuck in and they end up winning a game. So it's not like any other sport. So the goalie is a vital piece to our success.
Let's talk about your soccer journey and kind of what gave you the passion for this sport and what makes you keep coming back.
I started when I was young. I think like 4 or 5 years old when I played. My parents and grandparents, put me out there, and I just loved the game ever since. Went to Poland, played through the Poland travel system, played at Poland High School, graduated in 2008, and I really wanted to just get involved in coaching right after that. I was fortunate enough to be offered a position on the Poland staff that same year, and a couple of years later took over the entire program as a whole. Soccer's a wonderful game where it's so important about the preparation that you do for your team's success. Basketball, football, other sports like that, the coach has an impact during the game. You can call plays to try to impact or sway how the game's end result's going to look. Soccer, you really don't have that control. You talk to your players and you hope they're ready to go when the game starts. You got 10 minutes at a halftime to make any adjustments, but the rest is on them. So all that work ahead of time, all that preparation that you put in is the most important piece. And then you hope you did enough just to make sure that your guys are ready to go in those games, and they just take it from there.
I love that you bring up the coaches don't really have much control during a game. Put into words what the mindset is of you on the sidelines when you're out there, and really, like you said, you're just hoping that the players are prepared, and you're hoping that they execute their game plan. What's that kind of like, being a part of that? What's the mindset like as a coach during a game?
A lot of patience. So you don't get a timeout. We don't get to talk to our guys. I mean, unless we sub them out and talk to them specifically, we have to wait to talk to the entire group until a halftime or even after the game. And sometimes at that point it's too late. First halves, we're always trying to evaluate where we're at, trying to reflect on maybe what the game plan was, the scouting report. Did we say something correctly? Is the team doing something different that maybe we're not adjusting to very well as a group that we would then have to make adjustments at halftime? But there's a lot of trust now, putting it on your players and relying on those leaders to make those in-game adjustments is a huge part to soccer. And all that preparation, all that time spent at practice, you have to just trust and have the confidence that you put the kids in the right position, and they're going to be able to take it and get the results that you need.
If you had to put kind of the style of Poland soccer into words, what kind of style do you guys play? What kind of game plans do you like to execute?
We like to, so we call it pressing. So we, like I said before, we play probably 16, 17, 18 guys, and we try to get them in and out in different shifts, maybe every 8, 10, 12 minutes or so. So we try to put as much pressure as possible on the opposing team. We call it a 3-second rule. So anytime that we lose possession of the ball, we try to win the ball back within 3 seconds. We feel like that's the best opportunity before the team has had a chance to really develop their possession for us to win the ball back. We try to create by pressing, we try to create as many extra opportunities on the offensive end as possible. We try to create shots, and even if they're not great opportunities, we feel like the abundance of shots that we can have in a game will lead to more goals actually being scored. The counter to all of that is when you press, and if you don't do it the right way, you're putting more pressure on your defense and your goalkeepers. So we try to make sure that they're as prepared as possible to withstand any transition that the opposing team could have if we're not doing a great job of pressing with our offensive players. And we've tried for the last couple of years just to try to wear teams down by playing 17, 18 guys. We feel like we're a little bit fresher towards the end of games, and especially towards the end of seasons, than the opposing team might be. And we tell our guys to have patience. If we don't get the goal that we need early in the game, if we're doing what we're supposed to do towards the end of games, we'll wear them down enough that we should be able to squeak one in and get the result that we need.
Now, you say your first scrimmage is Saturday, so what goes into your checklist of the first scrimmage? What kind of things do you want to see? What are some of the team goals to accomplish in that first scrimmage and the first time you really get your guys out there in a competitive atmosphere?
I think organization and structure is the biggest thing right now. I know we're not going to play perfectly the first scrimmage, nor do I really want us to play perfectly. I'd rather us play perfect towards the beginning of October going into tournaments. But overall structure of what we're trying to do, I just talked about pressing. We do want to see those things being accomplished in the scrimmages. We talk about some of the details of set pieces and corners. We don't have a lot of that in yet, so we'll be very basic with those things, but we'd like to see execution on those ends. And a big piece at this point in the year is communication. So we know we're not going to play perfectly, but if we're communicating together, those are things that we can do right now as perfectly as possible that will carry over into the season, into September, into October, and then into the tournament. So we're looking for a lot of the basic things in these first scrimmages. Obviously, we'd like to have a great result against Chagrin, who is a great program and a great team. And we just want to see where we're at, make the adjustments going into the next scrimmage, and then that'll carry us into the first game.
Let's talk a little bit about your schedule and some of the games that maybe fans should circle as must-see opportunities for the teams that you're playing.
So we really try to beef up our out-of-conference schedule. So this year we have CVCA, Cuyahoga Valley Christian Academy. We're going up there on the first game of the season on August 24th. West Geauga on that Thursday, who we actually played in the tournament last year and had a good game against them. So we expect that to be a good game. That's our first home game. We also have Boardman and Austintown Fitch, two Division I, very strong programs in the area who we know are going to be big, strong, athletic, and skilled. So we're going to have to be prepared for those. And then the rest of the games are our conference schedule. And our conference is unique because over the last maybe 5 or 6 years, there's really been a kind of a new team to lead the conference, every year or every other year. Kind of started with Lakeview 5 or 6 years ago, where they had really, really great teams. And then it went to Hubbard and then South Range. And then we were fortunate last year. So we know there's good teams in our conference. We play these teams twice a year. So, even if we happen to get a win on the first game against those teams, we know they're going to make adjustments and be ready for us the second time. So it's a tough schedule going through all 16 games, but we got a lot of great teams and great games throughout the season that we have to be ready for.
And let's talk about what it's like playing in this conference. I mean, you went down the programs. It's just you beef up your out-of-conference schedule, but your conference schedule might be the toughest conference schedule in the area. I mean, you got teams that made deep tournament runs last year in South Range and Hubbard, and you know what Lakeview's program's all about. What's it like going through that gauntlet, and how much does it really prepare you for the tournament time?
It's difficult at the time. You always kind of wish there was a day off somewhere where we have, a game where you can just kind of take it easy. But that's not possible in our conference. And that really does help us come tournament time, because tournament time, it's one and done. You have to show up to every single game and you have to be ready to play. And if you're not, you're done. The season's over. So our conference helps prepare us for that, because we know every single game we have to show up. And, those teams know us really well. They've scouted us really well. Our kids, their kids and our kids know each other playing through club or different sports. So there's a little bit extra rivalry in those games, and our kids get up for that. And winning the conference last year, I think, I hope our guys are ready to hopefully defend that conference title, but I know it won't be easy going throughout this season.
All that being said, I mean, I got to imagine a conference championship means a little bit more to you. I mean, if you win it, you earned it, right? I mean,
that's exactly right. And last year was the first time since I had taken over that we had won a conference championship. So we've had a lot of really, really great teams who have won districts and sectional titles, but that was the first year we've actually won the conference. So I think that speaks to how good the conference has been. It started as the AAC and then it's moved to the NE8, but it's been mostly the same teams. How good the conference has been over the years, where there's a lot of really good teams that are at the top, but only one program can actually win the conference. So it was really a lot of fun last year, especially in a COVID year, to be able to take that and that be the first conference championship. And we hope we can duplicate that this year.
Last question before we let you go. If you had to pick a checklist of team goals this year, what are some of the team goals that you guys have already set for yourselves?
I think conference is one of them. We want to make sure that we're doing everything in our power to be competitive in every single game, give ourselves a chance to win every conference game, and hopefully be in the running to win a conference championship. We kind of had a heartbreaker last year in the district final game against Chagrin. We lost in double overtime. So I think our goal is to get back to that point and hopefully get the result that we need. And just every single game, showing up, being competitive, being ready to play, being prepared. I think as a coach, that's my goal. But then as a group of players, I think that should be their goal as well. Making sure we're ready to go for every game, engaged in every game, and just doing everything in our power to get every result that we need.
All right, Coach. Thank you so much for joining us today. It was great to hear from you. We definitely know that Poland boys soccer is going to be one of the programs to watch this year. We can't wait to continue our coverage of them, and we'll hope to talk to you again real soon.
I appreciate it. Thank you for your coverage.
All right, that was Brian Garkar, the head coach of the Poland boys soccer team. Undefeated regular season last year, NE8 champs, as he said, for the first time since he took over the program. And that NE8 in boys soccer, it's a gauntlet. You had South Range, who made a deep run in the tournament last year. Lakeview's a strong program. Hubbard's a strong program. Don't sleep on Niles this year either. I mean, when you win that conference, you earn it. And so for Poland to go undefeated in the regular season, with not just our conference schedule, but with a non-conference schedule that they beef up like they do, it's just a testament to the work that was put in by the 11 seniors. I think you need that kind of leadership to succeed in a COVID season like that. And we saw a lot of teams that did succeed last year have strong leadership in that point. So just can't express how proud we are to have that team covered on YSN, and how fortunate we are to have Brian Garkar join us on Running Point here today. Such a good friend. We've known him for a while because he also helps out the girls basketball program with Blanche, and can't testify enough about what a stand-up character that Brian Garkar is, and what a coach he is, and one of the young up and coming coaches of the area. So we wish Poland boys soccer nothing but luck in their season opening on August 24th at CVCA, and it doesn't get any easier after that. So we look forward to the season, and we look forward to talking to Brian Garkar again as the season goes on. We're going to take a quick time out. On the other end, we are going to be waiting for Angela Jones, head volleyball coach at Springfield. That's coming up next on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Hello, I'm Greg Burbick with G. Burbick Farms. For the last 100 years, my family has farmed in Columbiana and Mahoning counties. I began raising cattle in 1996 with the goal of providing a better product for you and your family on the dinner table. Our grass-fed and grain-supplemented Black Angus beef were raised with no hormones, steroids, or antibiotics. We're known for our hometown-friendly service and incredible tasting products. We're locally owned and have customers across the tri-state area. Our products go from our farm to your family. Stop by our farm on New Buffalo Road or visit us on the web at gburbickfarms.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook. G. Burbick Farms. It just tastes better.
This is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsuranceSolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
If you're looking for a quality pre-owned vehicle, why shop anywhere else but Tri-State Ford? Choose from our great selection of pre-owned vehicles. Plus, we've got you covered with our exclusive Tri-State Ford Advantage. It includes a 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty with your pre-owned vehicle and much more. Come see why so many customers from the Tri-State area buy their pre-owned vehicle at Tri-State Ford.
Customer focus, community driven. Tri-State Ford East Liverpool or visit tristateford.net.
No matter what the weather, be prepared with a reliable, efficient Rude gas furnace or air conditioner from MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. Call your energy efficient expert, MP Vivo, today for a free estimate.
Here at MP Vivo, we rely on Rude, and so should you.
It's storm season.
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air.
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
Online.
All right, let's talk high-risk futurecast and the timing of this weather.
On social media and on our app.
Rain will come and go tomorrow. There'll be some dry intervals.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
The severe weather threat now through around sunset this evening.
Myers Family Insurance knows the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is October 15th through December 7th. Now's the time to make sure your plan continues to meet your needs for the upcoming year.
Call today.
"60 years ago, Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods began with 3 siblings, a hand-set sawmill, and a few local orders. And while business has certainly changed over the years, what has not are our principles of hard work, craftsmanship, and commitment to quality. At Baird Brothers, we're proud to put our name on the products we create, from moldings and doors to flooring and lumber. Thank you for 60 great years. We look forward to 60 more. Baird Brothers, for the place you love."
Welcome back to the Thursday edition of Running Point on YSNLive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin Town. Anthony Hartwig with you. Want to remind everyone that the comment sections are live. You can comment on whatever platform you are watching on, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, or YouTube. We'd love to hear from you. Also, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline open, 330-886-0813, the number to reach us. We are joined now by the head coach of the Springfield volleyball team, Angela Jones. Coach, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Anthony, for having me. It's a pleasure.
And when we talk Springfield volleyball, you know, a team that was pretty young last year, and I talked to you a lot last year, it felt like you were gearing up for this year. You know, you were just trying to get those kids experience and felt like you were going to be paid off going through the growing pains of last season. Talk about what the expectations are now that this season has come. Has come.
Anthony, you hit it there. We definitely had some growing pains last year. We had come off of 2 really great seasons, and we were young, and we knew that. You know, we knew we lost a lot the last couple years, and so we were growing, and things didn't quite go the way we planned. But needless to say, we do have a young group back this year. We are strong. We are excited. I do not have any seniors, Anthony, which I tell people, and they're like, "What?" And I said, "Yeah, but I have a lot of juniors." So 5 returning letter winners. So we're getting geared up and ready.
And when you talk about no seniors, but I imagine the legacy of some of the seniors that graduated last year can be felt this year when the juniors know how to lead because of the seniors that were there last year, like Carly Bacon and some of the others. Talk about how important those leadership skills were last year to teaching the kids that are going to have to lead this year how to lead.
You know, COVID was such an insane time for everybody. And so I think that really changed a lot of things with our program, and it changed a lot of things, I think, overall with the demeanor, and just everything seemed out of sorts. These juniors had, you know, 2 seniors last year, Carly Bacon and Mackenzie Clem to look upon. But what this junior class is really blessed with having is the seniors prior to that also. We had a real strong set with Lauren Ranelli, Lindsay Smith, and Jenny Stitzel. And, you know, those girls, along with, you know, just a little bit of experience from the girls last year, I think really, really shaped them to be able to, you know, as juniors, they're going to have to step up and take that role as a leadership. So I think they've had some, and all of my athletes really are multi-sport people. So they have that leadership capability, or they have other leaders to look up to. You know, Carly was a leader maybe on the softball field also that my girls got to see, or, you know, maybe in basketball. I know they were young, but, you know, I got JC Mullen and Maddie Lesnack and some of my other girls playing basketball. So they've seen that in another capacity as well.
And when you talk about Springfield volleyball, the program as a whole is so proud, so much historic success. And when you have a season like last year that maybe wasn't bad by any standards, but maybe to Springfield standards, a down year, what's it like knowing that the expectations are still there, the standards still there, the kids understand that, and you're not going to have down years for too long?
Right. Having to fill Bill Knight's shoes, I knew right off the bat was going to be tough. Bill himself is a volleyball legacy in the state of Ohio by coaching standards, and being an athlete of his myself. I know the legacy at Springfield. Being a grad, I pride myself on that. You've seen firsthand in YSN and all the communities, the support that Springfield athletics gets time and time again over the years is a blessing, and it's rare, for being a small school, no open enrollment, and we take pride in our community and in the following that we have. So for us, last year was a very down year, an uncharted water year to have such a losing record that we had, but we know it won't last long, and we are ready to turn that ship around. Coach Knight led me into a lot of great teaching points and moments, and I just would try to absorb all that I could from him before I took over. So we're ready to turn it around, like I said, and get back on track to having well over a 500 season this year.
Having played for Coach Knight and having played for this program, what kind of sense of pride does that give you when you're coaching it now and you get to put your stamp on this program? And I imagine it's a little bit an advantage or a little bit of an extra boost to be an alum and to be able to say how much you care about the program, and you're not just someone that came in and coached it and doesn't understand like the community of Springfield.
Yeah, I still take a lot of pride. And one of the things that we talk about a lot with our team is our league banners, that hang up in our gym. Every day you walk into the gym, you see those banners. And I got to tell you, Anthony, I'll go back to when I was a senior, and my assistant coach, Carrie, she played with me. We were in a little bit of a turmoil time in our district at that time. And, the year after we graduated, our district went on strike. So we were in a pay-to-play athletic period, and we weren't sure if we were going to have sports our senior year or not. Fast forward the story, and we weren't eligible to play in the league that year for the title. And we were good. We knew we were going to be good. And, we didn't get a league title. And so we don't see our senior year up on that banner, and we would have had it. We would have clinched the league that year. So every day you walk into the gym, and Carrie and I know that banner year is missing. That year is missing on the banner. So that drives us. Coach Knight, being as knowledgeable as he was and a great coach that he was, it drives me. The legacy of Springfield and just being able to, carry on the tradition. And like you said, maybe for some teams, our season last year wasn't bad, but for us, it was one that we definitely want to turn a corner, forget, and move forward from.
Your senior season, that's some adversity right there to go through all that. Did that make the COVID year any easier, knowing that you've been through some adversity and you know how to handle going through that? And did that experience help you talk to your seniors last year, going through what they did their senior season?
Last year was the every day is a mystery, because we never knew walking into the gym if we were going to be told that day we were shut down or we would get a season. So we really had to live every day last year like this could be your last year playing volleyball. So that was tough, something that we've never had to deal with. When I was a senior, we almost knew either we were going to have it or we weren't. And when we finally knew we were going to have sports, we just paid to play. We knew at least we were going to get our season. So last year was very different, very unique, but it certainly, I think, made every community, every athlete, every student, every teacher, every profession, I think it made everybody stronger.
Without seniors on this team, who are some of the leaders that you're going to lean on to be leaders in this team?
Yes, like I said, we have a lot of juniors, and we just had Maddie Lesnack and JC Mullen selected as captains for us. So we are really looking forward. They, over the years, just natural. Maddie just has a natural leadership, as well as JC. They're all around athletes. They're multi-sport athletes. They are hard workers. So they really, it just kind of comes natural to them. And JC's a little bit more shy than Maddie. So I don't know that JC realizes the capacity that she holds for us, but Maddie's vocal, and she's just that bubbly personality. She's infectious, her spirit. She makes a big play, you're going to know about it. I tease her, we tease about having cheerleading practice, and our volleyball players become cheerleaders when we get excited. We really want that momentum to be contagious, and Maddie does that for us. I have some other juniors, that are going to step up, returning letter winners. I have Sarah Pontius. I have Gianna Pacuda, and I have, I think that's it, my returning letter winners, Maddie, Sarah, JC. Oh, Brooke, I'm sorry. Brooke isn't a junior for me. She's a sophomore. But yeah, I think we're going to be strong and have leadership. They're not hesitating to maybe have those, have those other underclassmen. I have 5 freshmen, and one of them is going to get a lot of varsity playing time. And she also played basketball with them, and Jamaica Brungard. So, the girls are shaping up to lead and show the underclassmen the ins and outs and make them feel comfortable.
Talk a little bit about the development of volleyball in the program, and not just junior high, but the youth development, and what goes into that, and some of the things that Springfield Volleyball does to develop the young kids before they get to you as freshmen.
Volleyball is unique, actually. Volleyball is one of the programs that there isn't a whole lot with youth buildup in our community. So really, when the girls come to play volleyball in 7th and 8th grade, the only interaction they have is through gym class. We have had a youth camp since I took over the helm. But again, COVID kind of shut that down last year. This year, we were uncertain, couldn't get a date to work. So we're really at a disadvantage for that. And if you think about that disadvantage, but yet having such a strong program every year, I think speaks to Bill Knight and what he did to build up this program. I think it speaks for our athletes, our girls who want to come out and give the sport a try, not having it before, junior high. And so just trying to drum up that interest. And we are a small school. And, I know I heard you just had Justin on here the other day in soccer. So, we have to share athletes, and sometimes that gets tough. But both of us have been able to do it and find success. And we're both pretty proud and excited about that.
Justin did throw that little jab that he didn't want to lose his young players to volleyball before they got into 7th grade.
Yeah, we compete, we have some girls that, I know right off the bat. I have a couple 8th graders. I know right off the bat. I just talked to them yesterday at pictures. I said, well, I know I'm going to lose you to soccer. I said, but I'm not going to lose the rest of you, am I? So, and that's, you got to take it as it is. It is what it is. We never had to deal with soccer before. Right. Soccer wasn't around when I was in school. And, I know the soccer program fought very hard to be where it is today. And I'm proud of Justin and the community for doing that. But it's tough.
Yeah. Well, all that aside, so many multiple sport athletes in Springfield and so much success around the whole Springfield athletic community. What's it kind of like being a part of an athletic community that, one, is successful, and 2, you never really have to fight with the coaches that are in seasons ahead of you about sharing the players and having the multiple sport athletes that you do?
Yeah, just the pride that Springfield carries, our coaches, I think, are some of the best. And I can be biased and partial, but I know all of them personally. And I do think we have excellent coaching. So with that being said, having to communicate with them comes very easy. Hey, I got John Matisse now as a girls basketball coach, so we're going to share gym time with him. And he's been great to work with, coming in as a first-year coach here for us in that capacity. And, before that, it was Jimmy Schuler, and we would always work together. Now it's, Jeff Brink and the boys basketball team, or before that, Coach French or Fender. So we've always just had a good relationship within our coaches and our coaching community. And I think that's fostered, by just having the success and the ease of being able to approach one another to make it work, because we all want that for each other.
Head coaches always get the lights shined on them. They always get the interviews, but I know they wouldn't be anywhere without the assistants and the people that hold them up. Talk a little bit about your assistants, the staff, the coaches that help build this program up, and what they bring to Springfield volleyball.
Yeah. So like I mentioned earlier, my sidekick is Carrie Brungard. Her and I went to school together. We've actually been personal, close best friends since junior high. And so having her by my side in this capacity is fantastic. Carrie knows my next thought. She knows to finish my sentences. She knows right where I'm going if I mutter 2 words. And so to have somebody that strong, who also knows the game, Carrie played as well. Her sisters played. Her sister Katie played, I think, at Westminster. So there's a lot of volleyball in our blood. And anything I would ask of Carrie, she's great. She shows up in between trying to get to her boys' games and practices and her daughters, so she's pulled in a lot of directions, but she's always there. She's doing a great job getting the JV girls ready for, the varsity program. And below us, then we have our junior high coaches. And I have my niece, Larissa Santangelo, stepping in this year for 8th grade. I'm really excited about that. Larissa played for Bill as well. And she also played at Seton Hill. She played 4 years in college. So she's going to bring a level of expertise and experience to that group of girls that will be very beneficial for us next year. And in the 7th grade role, I have Ashley Avnet. Ashley also played under Bill and his legacy. And her and I coached together a while back when I started in junior high. And, when I lost my 2 junior high coaches this year, I went right to them and they both jumped at the opportunity and are thrilled to be a part of the program.
When we talk about volleyball, we talk about the growth of it in the area. Last decade, the growth of JO volleyball, the growth of club players, and we see the growth of this volleyball interest in the area. From your perspective, I mean, how much has volleyball really grown in the last decade, and not just in Springfield, but in the area as a whole? We see a lot more competitive volleyball, a lot more very successful programs in the area than we may have used to.
Yeah, we have. And that's, part and due to the club and the, the JO volleyball aspect. It was around when I played, but no one really played JO. And it's just been building and building, and it gets more and more popular. Over the last, I'd say, 10 years, it's really, really grown. Kids have the opportunity to play in some great clubs in the area. It does get a little hard. Like I said before, we have multi-sport athletes. So some of these girls, and I'm okay with it. So, volleyball's not their first love, and that's okay. It gives their muscles a chance to work something different, so their same muscles aren't being overused. And as long as they're, staying active and doing something and getting touches on a ball, I think it's beneficial. Our Olympic team, we just nailed it in volleyball, men's, women's, beach, indoor, outdoor. I mean, we did an awesome job. So I think that's going to inspire, a lot of the youth, and hopefully we can just keep building upon that and maybe bring some youth camps back here at Springfield.
You said it, you have a lot of players that maybe volleyball is not their first love, but what I love about watching your team is, even though, Maddie Lesnick, softball, we know that she's softball first, but none of those players kind of, put volleyball aside. Like when it's volleyball season, it's volleyball season. Talk about kind of that and how proud you are as a coach to know that even though the players might not have volleyball as their first love, when it's volleyball season, it's all about volleyball, and they really give you their all. They don't think of it as just a workout.
No, I mean, if I didn't tell you that these girls weren't, volleyball wasn't their first love, you would never know. They are athletes in and out. They are friends. This group is so unique and so close, and we haven't had that type of tight-knit family feel on our program for a while. So it just comes very natural to them. And it's almost like they get on that floor, and that competitive edge inside of them is like a switch, and it turns on and they just go. You're right. It doesn't matter that it's volleyball. And for Maddie, it's not softball, or for JC that it's not basketball, and that's okay. And some of my girls, volleyball is their first love, and they've played club, and I have players with, Brooke and Gianna, Sammy McKim. She's going to play libero for me. She's an infectious, hard-working personality that I'm excited to see on the floor. Their humor, their wit, they get on the floor and it's lights out. They do. They play hard.
Take us through a typical Springfield volleyball practice, what it looks like, what kind of things you put your players through in the gym, especially in the summer when you get a lot of practices.
Yeah, well, lately it's been rough. We're one of the only schools that don't have air conditioning, so our girls are, dying. Yesterday we had East Palestine come in for a scrimmage, and they were hurting because we don't have air. And my girls always want long sleeve uniforms. They said, girls, we're never going to get long sleeves. Until we get air conditioning, we will never get long sleeves. But a typical day, we do some conditioning. We try to get a lot of touches on the ball, try to get a lot of movement. sometimes you play all these games that get the girls talking and moving, and they don't realize that they're doing something for volleyball. And I think that's important. I think it's important for the girls to have fun. I think it's important for the girls to stick together as a group. And, we go through some game-like situations. We go through a lot of out-of-system things because, in the real world, volleyball doesn't always look as easy as the Olympians make it look. So, you do some things to get your team ready for whatever may come their way.
Yeah, it's funny that you bring up the hot gym because we had Lakeview players on earlier today, and that's another gym that does not have AC in it. What kind of a home court advantage does that give you guys? I mean, I'm sure you've seen a lot of teams come in, they're so used to air conditioning, and then by the third or fourth set, they're sweating and they're not moving as fast. And I'm sure it's a legitimate home court advantage to have, being used to playing in no air conditioning and having teams come in that maybe aren't.
Yeah, it is. It's a home field advantage, no doubt. Not having the air, we're sort of used to it. It's like a hot yoga workout all in one, every practice that we have right now in this summer. We take time off. This year was unique. We took a lot of time off in July. Our gym usually gets resurfaced, and we usually utilize camps in July. And the camps that we've gone to in the past weren't running because of COVID stipulations still. So July was an off month for us, but coming back in August, having this heat that we've had lately, our girls are ready. Try to remind them to stay hydrated. But you see another team walk in, and I wouldn't even say Anthony after the third set. It's like after that first set, they're hurting, and a lot of them have long sleeves. And so I guess I just want to tell you guys, be hydrated when you come to our place, because right now, early in the year, it's hot. It's really hot in there.
I'm sure when you see a team come into your gym with long sleeves, you just go, oh boy, oh boy.
Well, the competitive edge in me is like, hey, they might wear down a little faster than normal, so that's not bad. But no,
on the flip side,
everybody's safe.
On the flip side, what's it like going to gyms that do have air conditioning and getting to kind of, it's got to feel even better for you guys because you're in it the whole season. So when you go to gyms that have air conditioning, it's got to feel so good.
Right. So tonight we actually scrimmage at West Branch in a scrimmage, and I'm excited because they have air conditioning. I'm not going to lie. I'm like, whew, that'll be nice on a day like today where the heat index is ridiculous. But, it's funny. My assistant, Carrie, will call me or she'll text me. She'll be like, hey, does this gym have air? I can't remember. I'm like, yes, bring a long sleeve because we're cold sitting on the bench sometimes. And then, we warm up and take it off, that sweatshirt off or whatever. But it's nice, especially earlier in the year, if you have a gym that has air, to be on the road.
One of the things unique to volleyball is you guys are playing 3-4 games a week. Not a lot of time to get into the gym between games. I mean, you might get 2 practices a week if you're lucky sometimes. What's it like trying to make adjustments when the next day you have a game and you try to tell them, hey, we got to make this adjustment, but there's really no gym time to go in and physically make it. So what's that kind of like as a volleyball coach?
Yeah, I would definitely say that's one of the hardest aspects. And usually before school even starts, and we're fortunate we don't start school until after Labor Day. So by the time school starts, we usually have sometimes 5 to 8 matches, depending if we have a quad or a try or something thrown in there too. So it's unique. It's difficult. It poses our problems. Try to take notes, and talk about some things. We film our games, and then, we have our film. We use Huddle, and so we get it broke down. And so if I can get something back in time and we send it to the, girls, or I print it and I talk to them about it before, maybe on the bus, or sometimes those games that don't go as well as they planned, you just got to leave them go and just say, hey, yesterday was yesterday. Today's a new day. So you just move forward and go from there.
And you bring up the Huddle and the technology that you guys are able to utilize. How much easier does that make it compared to a life before that? And you just had to really make adjustments based on handwritten notes.
Yeah. Well, I say, I don't know how Coach Knight did it, because not having Huddle, and he would watch the film and he would sit there and break down film. And I honestly, I don't know how. The technology that's come just, even since I've started coaching with Bill, has come a long way, and it just continues to get better and gives each team that, little bit of an edge, but also coaches a little chance to reflect and do some other things and know that part's taken care of. So it's great. I mean, it's great. It breaks down a lot of things for us offensively, defensively, gives us things to look at. And so we're going to utilize that a lot this year.
Other thing that we know is so important in volleyball is momentum, and knock on wood, you're going to get your crowd back, and you guys travel so well as a fan base. What's it going to be like to finally get to feed into that crowd energy again this year and be able to use the crowd and the community support that you get as energy and momentum during matches?
Yeah, it's great, Anthony. I mean, I again, Carrie's my assistant's my best friend, so I've been there through the football games, and just saying it now, I'm still getting the chills. But being able to have our fans back in our gym, it was very eerie last year. Not having a lot of people, and when volleyball started, our athletic department was going nuts trying to figure out, because every day was changing. So we weren't sure of anything, and didn't have a fan base. So it was very, again, eerie and odd. So to be able to have fans, hopefully some of the football players, they'll come in after practice and games, and they're a great cheering section for us there in the corner. So to be able to hopefully have some of that back and give those girls that momentum and boost, because we tell our girls all the time, they're not playing for us. They're not playing for their parents. They're playing for themselves, but most importantly, the girl next to them. And so for these girls to be able to have each other to lean on, and then have that, community and rallying support behind them, I think will be beneficial this year.
Let's talk about your schedule when you open up, and some of the games that Springfield fans should really circle as must-see opportunities.
Yeah, so we open up on August 23rd with Girard, and that's going to be a good one. Phil Walters is back coaching there. So that's always a great non-league game that we open up with. Our league, it's so up and down. It seems we come off of a very strong last couple years in our league. So we're looking to sort of take the ropes there and rise up quickly, hopefully. Western Reserve, Jen always does a good job getting her girls prepared. We faced Columbiana in a summer league at Camel, and Jen's got a nice group of girls, a lot of experience. So the Columbiana match later in the year will be a great one for us. Get us ready for tournaments. So that's going to be a great one to look forward to. But we're just excited again to be back in and get going full swing and see what we can do in the gym.
And you guys are in a very competitive league. I mean, Western Reserve up on the rise. Jackson Milton's up on the rise. We talked to their new volleyball coach earlier on Running Point, and then obviously Middle Ridge is sitting there looming as well. What's it like going through this conference, and how much it prepares you for tournament time when it comes around?
Yeah, it is. It's strong. Sometimes our league isn't strong in other things, but for volleyball, it's a strong league, and they keep us competitive. You have a game where you think, okay, tomorrow might be a little easier, and that's not the case. You got somebody knocking on your door. You got people coming at you, and we did lose a lot the last couple of years, and we're ready to get back on top. And so we know that everybody's coming for us. Springfield's got that legacy, like you said, and we just want to show up and play hard and play our best every day, and hopefully, get the results that we want and work hard for.
All right, Coach, thank you so much for joining us today. It was great to hear from you. We look forward to covering your team this season, and we'll talk to you again real soon as the season gets going.
Yeah, Anthony, thanks so much. And for YSN, thanks for all the coverage you guys give for all of us.
All right, that was Angela Jones, the head coach of the Springfield volleyball team that's looking to make jump back to their legacy years. And man, you don't have to go back too far to touch Springfield's greatness in volleyball. I mean, I remember as a fan before I was starting at YSN, I remember names like Gabby Fellows and Mackenzie Groner and some of the great teams that they had not too long ago at all. District championship games with Springfield. They always seemed to be in the district championship. Their fans were always traveling better than almost any volleyball fans in the area. They're proud, they're loud, and nothing but respect for the Springfield volleyball community and what they bring to the volleyball community in the area. So great to hear from Angela Jones. Great to hear from Springfield volleyball. They're looking for a successful season. No seniors, but a lot of returning letter winners and a lot of juniors that kind of have learned how to lead from seniors in the past. So we'll take a quick timeout on Running Point and be back with the Thursday edition brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Hi, everyone. This is DJ Yoakley with Your Sports Network. We appreciate your support of YSN and welcome you to the YSN family. Our broadcast streams are brought to you live at no cost to you by sponsors that are local to this community. Without the vision and generosity of our sponsors and partners, we would not be able to bring this game to you today. So please support the great businesses and leaders that are making this game possible. And if you're a business in need of great advertising and sponsorship opportunities, feel free to head over to our site for more information on the right fit for you. We are local, we are loyal, and we are live. We are YSN.
News doesn't stop after the sun goes down. Sometimes you just have to hustle to get it. At 21 News, no matter how far it is, no matter what it takes to get there, we're working to bring you the best stories and the freshest content at 11 p.m. with the context and clarity that makes it worth staying up for, no matter what time it is. 21 News at 11 with me, Erin Simonek, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 11, news that's worth your time.
WRS Wealth Advisors is the area's premier wealth and retirement specialist. With our combined 70 years experience and comprehensive wealth strategy, we assist our clients attain their goals. Call 330-965-0370 to learn more about our individual and corporate financial planning services, or visit wrswealthadvisors.com. Good luck, athletes.
Every customer has a story, whether it's buying a car for the first time, helping them get approved, or finding the perfect car for their budget. I'm proud that people trust me with their story. I'm Tracy, and I'm ready to go the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Ah, the details. Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods is one fine ride. Perfect cornering, superb handling, sporty and stylish, power to spare, plus awesome mileage. Yeah, jaw-droppingly beautiful lines and well appointed with luxurious trim. Put more oomph in your life and start beholding the molding. Find your home's fine hardwood at BairdBrothers.com.
Planning a project around your home or rental property? Trust the electrical service to the local experts with 62 years of serving the Mahoning Valley. Joe Dickey Electric is your local go-to source for responsive, reliable residential electrical work. From everyday maintenance and repairs to new installations, electrical upgrades, and safety inspections, no job is too big or too small. Call Joe Dickey Electric today, 800-549-3976, or visit DickeyElectric.com. That's DickeyElectric.com.
For heating, cooling, and indoor air quality, the Mahoning Valley trusts MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning, offering worry-free repair, service, and installation. Call MP Vivo today for a free estimate.
MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. We're your energy efficient experts.
Attention, current lessees of most makes and models. Tri-State Ford has a special offer for you. Come to Tri-State Ford, turn in your lease early, and get up to $2,500 in trade equity toward a new Ford or pre-owned vehicle. Plus, our exclusive Tri-State Ford Advantage includes a 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Early lease turn-in for most makes and models with up to $2,500 trade equity.
Customer focus, community driven. Tri-State 40 Liverpool or visit tristateford.net.
Welcome back to the Thursday edition of Running Point on YSNLive.com. Brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. I want to remind everyone that the comments section are live, whatever platform you're watching on, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, or YouTube. Leave us a comment and let us know what you're thinking about today on this Thursday. It was cloudy this morning. It looks. I'm looking right out the side, right out the front door. It looks like it's sunny at the moment. But with Northeast Ohio weather, who really knows at this point? So, make sure to follow Storm Tracker 21 WFMJ to keep updating on what the weather's going to be like. Right now in East Palestine, it's sunny, but we'll see what happens later. Want to get some golf scores updated as Jackson Milton continues their undefeated stretch. They beat Warren Harding last night. They were only able to play 5 holes because of weather. But the match still went final, 96-133. Some of the leaders for Jackson Milton, and these are the boys' golf team, by the way. Nikolai Scandy continues to impress. He shot a 26 to lead the team. Aaron Rami, who had his personal record 2 days ago, continues to impress, shooting a 33. Ryan Rami, his brother, shoots a 28. Josh Donaldson, not the baseball player. We're going to continue making that joke. Sorry, Josh. But he shot a 21. Hunter Scherzer, not Scherzer, shot a 21 as well. Dom Sotelo shot a 31. Drew Sloan shot a 25. Dylan Hovanek shot a 29. And Faith Sullivan shot a 30. So, once again, Jackson Milton 4-0 on the year. They get back in action tonight, a tri-match with Sebring and Springfield. That will be at the Old Dutch Mill golf course, which is Jackson Milton's home course. So Jackson Milton returns home. They host a tri-match today, and we wish them the best of luck, and Sebring and Springfield in that golf tri-match, as we are wonderfully affiliated with all of those teams. Scrappers game got canceled last night. We saw some wild wins. If you didn't see the video on ysnlive.com, the Twitter and the Facebook video with the tarp being blown across the field and into the stands. Ooh, wild moment, wild wins, and we're hoping for good weather tonight for the Scrappers game as well. Some more golf scores as we have Middle Ridge. They won their last golf game. Pulling it up right now. Hold on. Their last golf match. The varsity beat Lowville 190-222. And some scores for the Middle Ridge boys. Trey Wrigley shot a 43. Blaine Spittler shot a 47. Chaz Collintone shot a 49. And AJ Sandy shot a 52. This was at Bedford Trails, the front nine at Bedford Trails. Lowville, Dylan Oakler shot a 41. Kevin Johnson shot a 51. Ryan Nieder shot a 55. And Brandon Simmons shot a 55 as well for the Rockets. So that was the first match of the year for Middle Ridge. This was took place on, I believe, Tuesday. It was posted on Middle Ridge's website a couple of days ago. So Middle Ridge 1-0. They look forward to more success, as we know they're one of the premier golf programs in the area. Michael Porter and McDonald, also one of the premier golf programs in the area. We talked to Brian Tolnar yesterday about some of the other programs in the area that are just starting to get started at Mill Creek. 8 teams use Mill Creek as a home golf course. So as the scores come in, we'll continue to update. Stay tuned to ysnlive.com for golf scores and tennis scores. And then next week, when we have volleyball and football and soccer all get started, we'll definitely be updating on those. Actually, Friday, tomorrow, a handful of girls soccer teams will start the season as part of the Friday night football with a U initiative on the OHSA. I think it's a great idea from the OHSA to kind of use high school football and the big monster that it is and how popular it is in the state to be able to use it as a kind of marketing tool to get people to get interested in high school soccer. Just a fantastic idea. And their Friday Night Football initiative is going to be very well received in the Valley, as we have a handful of teams getting started. We know Salem travels to United, and we know Springfield, who we talked to Coach Kosek not too long ago. They are also part of Friday Night Football. They go to Niles, I believe, to start the season tomorrow, and another handful of teams will open, or I should say kick off the season tomorrow night. And then one of the tough things about it, though, when we were talking to Coach Kosek from Springfield, after that game, there's 17 days without one. So, you definitely get started early. You get to be a part of a fun night, a great marketing night to boost the support of your sport. But then you got a long stretch where you don't have another game. So going to be interesting to see how the teams that do play tomorrow night kind of navigate that long stretch and that long off time to try to get ready for their next game 17 days later. We see a lot of coaches come the end of the season, no matter what the sport, they try to avoid long stretches without games like that, to try to keep their kids fresh. But soccer, some of the teams, some of the programs getting that big stretch without a game early in the season, maybe not as big as a factor as it would be at the end of the season with conditioning and with how tired or fatigued a team might be at the end of the season, you definitely don't want a big rest and get the kids' muscles to kind of relax. You want the adrenaline to kind of stay pumping at the end of the season. Maybe at the beginning of the season, the 17 days without a game, not as big of a deal. We'll see how programs handle it. Want to talk a little bit about communities. And yesterday we talked about the community support that we see at YSN, and me and Ty brought up a handful of strong communities and how much they don't get talked about enough, because we talk about the players, we talk about the coaches, but the community support and the way the communities back up teams is also so important to a program's success. And we saw a glaring example yesterday in two instances, and they both happen to be from South Range, but they're not unique in the strong community that they have. We saw the blood drive for TJ Irons go off yesterday, and I got to go there very quickly after the show. And one of the things that I got to talk to a couple of people. It was nearing the end. But the registration for the blood drive was full almost instantly. And it went out a couple weeks ago. And that's just an incredible feat. That's an incredible feat by itself, to say that how fast it really filled up. And then the people that showed up anyway there just to have a fundraiser, to the bake sale, to buy shirts. It was a great moment, a great example of communities being able to get in front of people in their own community that are struggling. And I went and I got, I'm going to pull it off real quick. And so I got the Team Irons wristband, and I got a couple of shirts. I'm going to pull it up to the camera. Team Irons wristband right here from that moment at South Range, and I got a couple of shirts. And then, on 21 FMJ after that, when I got home, got to see this story of a couple of South Range football players that kind of shined what it means to be a perfect member of the community, and probably made Coach Yeagley one of the proudest people in the world yesterday. I believe it happened Tuesday, but it was on the news yesterday when the South Range football players kind of saw someone in distress, saw a truck flip over to the side of the road, did not hesitate to step up. DJ Yoakley joining us. What is
I'm here.
Oh man, what does that mean for you to kind of see that in all the communities that we do get to see at YSN?
You know what? It's funny. I shouldn't say funny. It's ironic, because we have the honor and privilege of seeing these programs from the inside out. We get to see the kids, the coaches, kind of who they really are, who they represent. And, I've said this since 2017, and I've known Coach Yeagley since long before that. I have to admit that he's one of the highest character people I've ever met in my life. A guy that would give the shirt off his back to anybody in need. And from our perspective, he was the guy, the engine that helped us go when we were just starting. So does it surprise me that he has high character people on his staff that engage into high character traits for their players on and off the field? No. So when I heard that story, there's a lot of teams in this area that I think would have the same output, and the kids would do the same thing. But it didn't surprise me that it was a South Range trio that did it.
Yeah, and that's why when I said the top, it was both the really community stories yesterday happened to be South Range, but it doesn't make it unique to South Range. The communities that we have on that wall, incredible.
Yeah, you can probably pull a story from here and there and everywhere. It's one of those situations, Ant, where they were just the cameras were there. The day after they heard about the story and situations like that. Unfortunately, contrary to popular belief, news stations and us at YSN can't get every story that is newsworthy, right? We try to do the best we can. You've been doing an outstanding job with these interviews, and getting us more content and letting people get a closer look at these players, these student athletes and these coaches and their programs. But unfortunately, we don't report the news. We kind of lean on our friends over at 21 WFMJ, and they did a fantastic job with that story. It's tough, when you're getting interviewed, and a lot of people will always criticize people getting interviewed. But it's tough when there's a camera in your face and there's a microphone in your face and you're trying to recall what happened 24 hours ago.
Right, and one of the answers that I really liked when I forget which one said it, but they said it says what South Range football is about, which means that lesson was learned specifically with that team and on that field, which just reflects right back to what you were saying about Coach Yeagley. Yeah,
and I think it goes through the school as well. I mean, there's a lot of pride in that school, that there's a lot of pride in doing the right thing. And if you've ever talked to Coach Yeagley, if you've ever talked to a lot of those guys, Donnie Farron, you can go on and on and on and on and on. The teachers, the staff, the I always want to say the front office, because that's in my mind, that's what they are. The school board, superintendents, all on down to the janitors, the custodians, people that care about people, and I don't want to say that they're the only ones that do it, because when we had a fire here in East Palestine 4 years ago, and we let everybody know about it, and South Range and Girard and, Crestview and Columbiana all piled together to make sure that family was okay. I mean, there was thousands of dollars in gift cards and actual cash and checks that were transferred. Sports is such a really, really cool thing, because you learn a lot of lessons in sports in I don't want to say non-vital situations, but not like you're not dying. But, you learn how to deal with adversity. You learn how to deal with your blood pumping a little bit and your heart beating a little faster. So when the moment gets too big for some people, a lot of times athletes or former athletes, they see the opportunity because the moment's not ever too big for them. So I thought it was great that it was student athletes that were there doing it.
And something me and Ty talked about yesterday, when we see all these successful programs that we've seen the last 4 years on that wall, you don't see too many of them happen without strong community backup, and especially the parents that back up these kids and know what it takes to kind of build a strong program. It's a testament to our area and the communities that we have in each of these schools, that I think that's why one of the reasons that we have so many successful programs, no matter it be fall, winter, or spring. Yeah. We have great communities.
Yeah, I think it's really ironic that, you look at South Range and Crestview, two schools that don't really have, a city behind them, but they have a community. In fact, South Range has two. Crestview has probably more than that. Beaver Local, they're in the same boat where, they're based out of quote unquote Calcutta. Like, people will talk about them, but they're actually in East Liverpool. So, you've got two schools in East Liverpool that do a lot of good down there in Southern Columbiana County. But it's really cool whenever you see these schools embrace the community as much as the community embraces the school. Because, I grew up where we were East Palestine High School, but we're based in East Palestine. There is no South Range city, right? Or town. There's no Crestview town. It's New Waterford. So it's really cool to see some of these communities step up and the love that goes back and forth between them, because it's almost like a badge of honor to go to these schools and represent these schools and then represent your community at the same time. I just think it's really cool that they don't have that, but they still utilize it. That's always been really neat to me.
And that's one of the things that excites me so much about this year, is because I feel like the communities have had parking blocks on them for about a year, and they're finally being taken off. And I think we're going to see more community support than we've ever seen this year, because they've been grinding their tires for about a year during COVID. Now everyone's like, okay, let's go. Gates are open. And we're going to I feel like this year is going to be just amazing crowds, amazing energy, amazing community support from all of our teams.
Which is good. Yeah. And that's what we want. Like, people can sit back and I've heard it, we wish and we hope that another variant comes through because of what it did for our business. No, we couldn't wish for that. That couldn't be further from the truth. I mean, that from talking offline. I want fans as much as anybody else does because it helps us get excited, I felt like last year to be excited at games was challenging sometimes because it didn't really have that Friday night atmosphere. Basketball was even
Yeah, because you're in this gym and it's like
there's 30 people in this gym and you're like, okay, now what do we do? And everybody can hear us, and then there's a level of everybody's going to stay quiet so they can hear us talk about it. So now there's an added bonus of don't screw up, don't screw up a name because they're going to hear you up in the corner now. And they'll march right over and let you have it. But I can't wait for Thursday night. This day last year, this day right now was the day that we were given the okay by Governor DeWine to go ahead for football. We waited this long. And then tomorrow would have been the day that we got the go ahead to do video for football. And then we bought $50,000 worth of equipment from a website, and it was all delivered at once. And it was just like, okay, now we go. I'm cautiously optimistic for where we're at, excited beyond belief, cautiously optimistic from where we're at that we're going to be able to execute at a very high level for these schools, for these programs, for these kids, for these parents, for these grandparents, these families, and most of all for the fans across the nation that want to watch Friday night football, Thursday night football here on the network, and watch it in a big capacity. I think we have 28 games on Friday, 4 games on Thursday. I'm taking a trip to Toledo on Saturday just so Jackson Milton fans can have their game. I mean, that game was supposed to be against Chalker.
Right.
Chalker lost the first 5 games of their season, and Toledo was the best thing that they could do, Jackson Milton, to make sure that they got 10 games in. So guess what?
We're going
to Toledo.
And we had a Toledo grad on yesterday, gave us some tips on what to do when you're down in Toledo, some of the things to hang out at.
We're not going to be there long.
I know, but you're going to see the campus at least.
I mean, we'll be on campus because we're playing at the bowl, but or what do they call it? The launch pad?
I think the glass bowl.
The glass bowl. I don't know. I call it the launch pad because they're the Rockets. So I'm probably way out of line on that. but I'm gonna say that I think my wife is tagging along. Like it might be like a little bit of a journey for us. So we might kind of finagle our way back home in a different route. But I went to Ohio Northern my freshman year, for a whole year, and I remember that drive, and it's not hard. It's just there's a lot of corn along the way. So I'm excited. I think it's cool, but it just cements our whatever it takes to get it done. That hasn't gone away. We, like I told you before, we didn't win anything. We had a really good year, and we're looking to have a lot better year this year. So we're excited for that.
And you told me before the show, speaking of communities, we have the chance to officially welcome a new community to our YSN family in Windham, right?
Windham. So, Windham is official. I mean, I haven't made the graphic yet, but Windham is official. Welcome to the Bombers. I love the logo. I love that they love us, and they've watched us from a distance, and now it's just another impact point for us to bring in their kids, bring in their programs, and say, welcome to the family. I can't tell you how much what it means. We're working on a couple more for Thursday, if you can believe it. So I can't wait. I'm overwhelmed. I'm humbled by the love and support for the brand. It's not for me. It's for the brand, and it's without guys like you, Anthony, and you list our whole roster, from top to bottom. Without each and every one of these guys and gals, this baby doesn't run. This ship is still just in the middle of the ocean. And
Windham, in another community, another sports that probably feels a little bit undercovered before. So it's the reason we started YSN, because there were some of these schools that felt they were underappreciated, undercovered. And I feel like Windham's probably another one of those communities that's going to get a whole scope of what it feels like to be under the umbrella.
Yeah, to be on the network's big. You know what I mean? And it used to be just like, okay, what do these guys and gals do over there? And now we have to be part of this because we're missing if we aren't. So that's a cool moment for us at the network. You and I kind of have dabbled in it and talked about it. But it's, welcome Windham. That's the name of the game today. I'm excited. They're excited. A 2-year contract is what we put out now, and they're making a little bit of money. And it's to them, it's not about the money, and to us, it's not about the money. It's about doing what's right. And I feel like we're hitting it out of the park right now. And these schools that don't even give us a look, that's fine, but they have to answer to their fans now, because their fans are like, how do we get to be a part of this? If it's not just free, but we pay you, it's let's just be honest, it's $100 a season, but it's something. I don't see anybody else knocking on the door for any amount of money and saying, hey, we want to support you, because there's more than that. It's the amount of time and effort and resources that go into that school. A lot of times schools pay for this on their own, and they try to use their students, which is great. We want to use their students. We want to showcase their talent at every turn, whether it's writing or announcing, or, if they want a video, or they want to just be part of it and learn what it's like to be a broadcaster, that's what we're here for. But you're talking about a program that runs a school probably anywhere $250,000 to $300,000 a year when it's all said and done, that now these schools are getting for free. These schools and getting paid a little bit along the way. And I think that helps everybody. And I've always been a firm believer that high tides raise all boats, right? And we're just trying to be that high tide. Are we a business? Absolutely. But are we doing the right thing first and worry about money second? We are.
And I'm sure you've had a lot of conversations with Wyndham in the last couple of months leading up to this. What have been some of the feedback from them and some of the excitement from the people down at Wyndham about being on the network?
I think they're excited about just seeing the smaller schools get coverage, because we live in a world where it doesn't always happen that way. People aren't going to follow an 0-10 team. And when I say people, I'm saying like production companies, right? Or news stations necessarily. Newspapers now too, because they're short-staffed, but they're not going to tell you the entire narrative. We are committed, as long as we're allowed to be in the building, that we will be there for 10 football games. We're going to be in the volleyball. We're huge. We had this, again, I feel like I'm beating a dead horse. We had this discussion this week. We are engaging more into volleyball. We're doubling down into volleyball. We are getting into soccer. We're looking into getting into lacrosse and rugby. We're in wrestling. Hockey is another one we're trying to get into. We want to cover the major sports, absolutely. But if we were to take every sport away and we weren't allowed to cover any sports anymore for the games, I would still love doing what we do, because we get to talk to these kids, learn a little bit more about these student athletes, and showcase their story. When I got into journalism, I was told very early, and it stuck with me, everybody you meet has a story. It might change based on the day it is, but everybody's got a story. And it's our job as journalists to tell that story in a positive light, or embrace that story and showcase how they bounce back from adversity, or, whatever their story is. We have to be able to capture it. It's not our job to get you to necessarily pick a side of the story. It's our job to showcase the story and give people the opportunity and the platform to tell it.
One of the things that because you're a marketing guy, you like marketing.
I love marketing.
This Friday Night Football initiative, and we talk about the soccer. I think it's a marketing home run to use the popularity of football and use it kind of as a push to get people interested in soccer, and having soccer teams around the state start the Friday before Friday Night Lights.
So like tomorrow?
Yeah. I think it's a home run marketing. I mean, to use the big monster that football is and to have it drive soccer in a sport that's trying to gain popularity.
I think it's good. I think why they're really doing it is probably to do a lot of tests for football. So they want to test their speaker system. They want to make sure that, it's a smaller crowd, probably, I would assume. They're able to kind of figure out that. So that way, then a week from now or 2 weeks from now, they're able to, say, hey, we did a dry run, without having to necessarily get people there and no money's exchanged or no people are coming through the gate. A lot of people look at that and say we're wasting our time. where athletic directors are starting to be a little bit more business savvy, a little bit more what's cool is these schools are starting to actually hire marketing people to market their programs and to think for them a little bit. Because, I mean, as you know, I'm big into if you're not good at math, but you're really good at writing, let's get you writing something. Like, I'm not great at math. We're lucky we have Brian, from that standpoint. Otherwise, we'd probably have some bounce checks and all that stuff going around. But I'm big on going all in on your strengths. And these schools are doing that now. So these marketing, I don't want to call them gimmicks because they're not, but these marketing plans are coming out and you start getting people excited about stuff. Social media, we've always talked about, can be something that you use as a tool or it uses you as a tool. And, a lot of these marketing agencies, especially, I mean, you look at some of the ones that we deal with on a regular basis, they're outstanding, very, very clever in what they do. iSynergy, I met with Steve the other day, unbelievable. Some of the things they have going on. The K-Squared girls as well, met with them the other day, just shot the Open for from WRS Wealth Advisors. So I'm excited for what these schools are doing, because now they're understanding that we don't necessarily have to do everything. If we can just pick and we're in that conversation too. If we could just have YSN come in and do our stuff, it means we don't have to do it. We could save money and be good stewards of the taxpayers' money.
We go into the 2:00 hour, and I want to shift into something that I've been thinking about with the Hall of Fame being inducted not too long ago. And I know you guys on the Power Hour had a talk about the standard of Hall of Fame and how it's kind of getting saturated a little bit, which I think comes with the territory of letting a number of people in every year. Eventually, the bar is going to have to be lowered, or you're going to have to say, we're going to stop letting people in. If the NFL ended right now, well, if everyone retired right now and we had to, when you look at the stars today and the stars of the game, I don't know if how many people do you think would make the Hall of Fame if, like, to say everyone retired right now
in football? Okay,
because there are a lot of young stars that really haven't had.
Well, I guess it depends on which team you root for.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Like, I see where you're going with Patrick Mahomes being a young star.
Like, would he be a Hall of Famer? I mean,
if he quit right now,
right?
No,
right. But there are a lot of guys like that in the league right now. There aren't a lot of seasoned veterans that have had longevity careers. There are some.
Tom Brady.
Yeah, some. There are unicorns like Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, but a lot of the guys.
Ben Roethlisberger. I mean, you look back a year, you got Phillip Rivers, Eli Manning. I mean, like how many years we're talking right now from that standpoint? I don't know, because the case is going to be made if they stop playing football, the NFL folded up. That, well, look what Patrick Mahomes would have done. There's to be a lot of speculation, but that's the speculation. The Hall of Speculation, not the Hall of Fame. Like my thing is it should be the Hall of Great and not the Hall of Fame or the Hall of Average, and I think they get a play on those words because they can get announcers in, they can get a lot of people in that aren't necessarily football players or base, whatever hall it is. I feel like we've lowered the bar and we've really watered down the syrup on greatness. Like everybody, Patrick Mahomes included, he's a great football player, but he's only won one Super Bowl, right? Lost one, won one, right? How are we crowning him? Like he's fun to watch, but everybody's the GOAT. Right? Everybody gets to be the GOAT. And it's like, wait. The guy behind you, GOAT. He's done. It's over. There's no like, how do we crown a Patrick Mahomes or, a LeBron James before he ever won a championship? He's the greatest of all time. Like, I was hearing that. I'm sure you heard the same thing. Oh, yeah. Like, how do you do that? And that filters into the Hall of Fame because, oh my goodness. Now, LeBron James will most certainly and definitely go into the Pro Basketball Hall of Fame. But my question is like, does Carmelo Anthony, like, is he that good? Or was he just a hyped guy that at the right time was marketable and, made a lot of waves? And I don't know. I don't think he is. If gun to my head, say Carmelo, Hall of Fame or not, no. I mean, we'll play that game. We'll play squirt gun to the head, Hall of Famer or not. You give me one, I'll give you one for football.
All right, Russell Wilson.
Yes. Aaron Rodgers.
He wouldn't be in today's age. He wouldn't be a first ballot because the antics, the people that vote on the Hall of Fame, I feel like tend to shy away. If he was a first ballot Hall of Famer, it wouldn't be unanimous. Yeah, you think so?
I do. How many? He's got what? 2 MVPs, 3 MVPs,
and 1 Super Bowl.
I mean, Peyton just got in. He had 5 MVPs and 2 Super Bowls. So, I mean, that means Roethlisberger's in, right? Inevitably,
right?
I think 2 Super Bowls is you're in. 1 Super Bowl, you got to have a couple MVPs because you're looking at it. Yeah, you might not win a Super Bowl, but I think that's but you were the best player in the league, and that gets you in because it's less about your team at that point, more about you, individual. So, Hines Ward.
Yeah.
Okay. See, I would say no.
I'll go receiver and guy that's broken records, not won a Super Bowl, Michael Thomas.
Okay. I don't like it. To me, no. He's a no.
You're a self-proclaimed not receiver guy, though.
It's not that. I mean, what has he done?
Right. Other than break records.
I mean, are they NFL records?
I think he has.
Or are they Saints records or
No,
whatever?
I think he has at least one or 2 NFL receiving records.
I mean,
which just got Calvin Johnson into the Hall
Calvin
of Fame.
Johnson got in. I mean, they saw what was it? Brady played for 7 years. I forget
That was great.
You know what I'm talking about,
right?
Like Calvin Johnson started and ended, and Brady was still started for 7 years and ended, for 5 or whatever.
One of the things I saw, and I think it was Detroit Lions, the tagline was Calvin Johnson, youngest first ballot Hall of Famer. And I'm like, is that something to brag about? Like, I love Calvin Johnson, Georgia Tech guy. I've met him, great dude.
Barry Sanders was.
I mean, like, to be a young first, that means your career ended pretty early. And I mean, like,
I honestly don't understand how Calvin Johnson got in because the NFL was really upset about Calvin Johnson quitting because they lost one of their, what I call being a cup guy, right? On the plastic cups that they sell at the souvenir stand. They lost a guy in a time where they really needed him. And he never looked back. Now, should that have impacted his Hall of Fame status? No. But I think that some of these guys, Ben Roethlisberger, Tom Brady, look at who's retiring. Because they know they've got a pretty good idea that they're making the Hall of Fame. And they look at, hey, am I going to be a main guy or am I going to be an afterthought? Because you think about the Peyton Manning one. Like Peyton Manning retired, and I think he was holding on to, if I retire, is Tom Brady retiring? Because I'll go 1 more year. And Tom Brady, Peyton made the joke he's going to play till his 2030. It's one of those things where you sit there and you go, whoever has to go in with that guy, you're not the featured speaker. You're not the keynote. Like, you are just secondary speaker. Because Tom Brady is going to be one of the most anticipated Hall of Fame speeches of all time. So I'm interested. But the Hall of Fame, going back to the original point, I'm so disappointed with not necessarily the people that go in, but the bar. I'm a bar up guy. And I know you can only push the bar so high. But these people are going to be featured forever. And you're going to walk in there and you're going to be like, what did this guy do? Who is this guy?
Don't have to look and read the bust just to know. Yeah.
I mean,
who?
I did it. I mean, these were still living legends when I went to the Hall of Fame last week. And I'm like, who is that? What did he do? And then you read on Wikipedia or you read and you go, oh, okay, that makes sense. But dude, think about 30 years from now, your kids or my grandkids or whatever it is, you sit there and you go, they got no shot of knowing who these guys are because they're not standout guys. Like, you can talk about Calvin Johnson and be like, he played 8 years in the league. And they're going to go, 8 years? Mm-hmm. Like, how did he make the Hall of Fame if he only put 8 years of work in? You know what I mean? Then you have guys like Tom Brady that played for 20-something. You're going to go, this guy this guy won. I mean, it's apples and oranges all over. I get it, and I feel bad kind of telling people, well, you don't really deserve to be. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that I feel like, you know, if this was the syrup, I feel like there's a little bit of Dasani going in there, and you stir it up and you go, you can make the Hall of Fame because, you know, you come on in. And I don't understand what the difference is between a first ballot Hall of Famer and just getting it.
Right.
You know, that shouldn't be. That's nothing. It's like getting a 4.5 star review on Yelp. You know, you still have a great review. You're still in. You know,
it just took you longer to get it.
Yeah, it just, yeah. You know, and people get, what's crazy is people get mad about that.
Mm-hmm.
They get mad that they're not first ballot Hall of Famers. And I'm like, be happy you're in the Hall of Fame. Like, you're forever enshrined. Why, you know, were you that good? Were you that good? I don't know. Jimmy Johnson? I mean, did he win the Super Bowls? Yeah. Like, people are talking about Mike Tomlin. Hall of Fame? I don't know. I mean, he's got a Super Bowl. Is he still the youngest coach to ever win one? I think he is. Because McVay didn't win it yet, did he?
Nope.
I think he's still the youngest coach. But does that make you Hall of Fame? Like, because you got a claim to fame? That doesn't make you Hall of Fame. It means you're a question on Jeopardy. So I don't know. I think we live in a very.
Well, he's never had a losing record in those years that he's been there, right? I mean, he's been with the Steelers for a long time now.
I mean, I get. Listen, I'm a Mike Tomlin guy, but when they talk about him as Hall of Fame, like, let's look at his playoff record.
Right.
Like, not
if
good.
he wins another Super Bowl, then will you say maybe a Hall of Fame coach?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, Cowher's in with one Super Bowl. Do I necessarily think he's a Hall of Fame coach? Yeah, because he worked with the GMs and built a franchise, right?
Oh, yeah.
He had to back up one of the greatest coaches of all time, Chuck Noll. He had some rough talent that he had to bring back up because once all those guys, it's kind of like where we're at now. Once all those guys went away, they had to build that talent back up. Now, if Tomlin can build the talent back up from what it was a couple years ago, yeah. I think he's a Hall of Famer.
Here's a name, not maybe not one, but really important to the NFL. J.J. Watt.
Yeah.
Hall of Fame.
J.J. Watt's a Hall of Famer. J.J. Watt's a Hall of Famer because of what he did for the Shield. You know, how you carry yourself on and off the field. That's a Hall of Famer. And I talked in my personal podcast, the Victory Lap, about being a Hall of Fame person and being Hall of Fame worthy. J.J. Watt's a guy that is a Hall of Famer on and off the field because what he's done with his communities that he's been dropped in, and what he's done with his hometown, even with Arizona, he's already stepping up. So you look at that and you go, you know, he's one of the most. He has an MVP, does he not? I think he does. I know he's got a depoy.
Yeah, he definitely has defense player of the year.
I think he's got an MVP to go along with it, and he also has, what's that one thing they get, the Man of the Year?
Oh yeah, Man of the Year.
So he's got that going. I mean, to me, yes, and that's an easy yes.
Who are some other guys that you think are in there? Maybe not because they won, but because of what they've done for the league.
Larry Fitzgerald.
Yes.
I mean, that's an easy one for me. Larry Fitzgerald did it without even drawing attention to himself, you know, from off the field to on the field. Like, that dude could have went and signed with anybody and just chased a ring, because that's what it's about now, is chasing rings. But he kept his loyalty, he kept his brand clean, and he helped his community, and he helped the world. Like,
never stepped 1 foot out of line. Not even a dreadlock out of line.
No, and that's one of the things that, like, you look at Larry Fitzgerald when he was drafted, and he didn't get the Heisman, correct? He was robbed of it.
Right, he did not get the Heisman.
He was a Heisman winner. I mean, and it's so hard to do for a receiver. He was putting up unbelievable stats, and he should have won the Heisman. And
the grace that he lost with was unbelievable. And he should have, as a Steelers fan, he should have won that Super Bowl.
Right.
And we'd be playing his clip, 30 times over and over and over and over and over for the rest of history. But he didn't. And he was out there shaking hands with players when other players were sulking and going in the locker room and stuff like that. Larry Fitzgerald is a guy that every kid, every culture, every sport should look up to and say, I want to be like that guy. Because that's how an athlete is supposed to carry themselves. Professionally, you give back because you're blessed, and we just don't have that anymore. We have this mentality. It's all about me, and everybody else gets seconds. I don't know who else. Luke Kuechly was big time in the community for a while with Carolina before he retired. I like Luke Kuechly. Trying to think of anybody else. I mean, I know I can hear Quinn in the back of my head saying LeBron with all he did. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, but with LeBron, it was almost like the production that happened, the motives don't matter because he's still helping people. But you almost felt like there was a reason behind the curtain
Because
while he
there's
was
a marketing
right,
thing.
right.
It's look at me.
Right.
And that's what it's turned into is look at me. I'm a really good reader of people, right? Whether I know them, we're here, or I see how they act elsewhere. LeBron James is 100% me guy. And he grew up poor and he grew up with challenges, and I get it. But so does a lot of people. A lot of people grow up and, if they had the ability to do what he does, I think they would give a lot more. And I'm not saying that he's not a great guy because he doesn't give as much because everybody gives what they feel, right? But LeBron gives, and it's like that picture that, hey, I'm going to give money to homeless people, but takes a selfie of him doing it. Like, you don't have to do that in the spotlight. That's not something that needs to be done. It's something that if you feel it needs to happen, then you do it. But you shouldn't latch to the fame of giving. Like, that's not what you do and why you do it. It's if you want people to know about it, fine. Like, I always bring it to, okay, if we had a foundation, right, you owe it to the people that donate to your foundation to say, this is where the money goes. So when we did the pay-per-view last year, we let people know where the money was going. It's going 25% to the schools. We have to pay OHSAA fees, da-da-da-da. But if you're doing it out of your own pocket, why do you have to explain where it goes? You're a great basketball player. Why do you have to tell everybody, well, I'm doing this because, and it's you. That's why you're doing it, Give without asking in return. That's how it's supposed to be.
And like I said, the people he's helping, they don't care.
No,
and we're still getting the help,
to them, right?
Right.
But it's a what have you done for me lately
Right.
world, and a lot of those people it works both ways.
But when I feel like when you're giving with that attitude instead of maybe the JJ Watt or the Luke Kuechly attitude, that hand's going to keep coming out. And when you're not there to give it, it's going to have a little bit of a different reaction to it than maybe a JJ Watt would.
Yeah, I think that, there's an expectation when you're a professional athlete that you should give back. And I think it's okay. I think when you make it in anything, you should try to give back. Do you always give back to the people that you want to? You can't. It's not always feasible, right? Some people, there's teachers that hopefully when we hit it big, I will never be able to give back to because they don't live, they're not on this earth anymore. There's people, business people that won't take your money. There's people that won't take your money in general. They did it because that's what you're supposed to do. You find other ways to give, you know what I mean? And some of these athletes, some of these people, I've been so absolutely mesmerized by different ways of giving. I saw one athlete give away a trip to, it was almost like a vacation, but it was an educational trip too. So they got to swim with dolphins and see whales and all that. So they were learning at the same time, but it was hands-on. And it was like some special needs kids. And I thought, this is really, really neat. Really, really neat. Because that's a creative way to give back. You know, it's not writing a check and saying, hey, go buy your own bike, go buy this, go do this. Time and a place for that. But I think people get more creative with giving. And to me, that's what kind of puts them as Hall of Fame people.
Here's another name. Drew Brees, just retired, won a Super Bowl.
Yes.
Just won.
Drew Brees.
But it's one of those Hall of Fame kind of personalities.
Made 2 Super Bowls, right?
I think he won one. He beat the Colts, made 2.
Beat the Colts, and I think he was in – was he in the Super Bowl?
I think he kept getting to like the NFC Championship and losing.
I swore he was in another Super Bowl. I could be wrong. But yeah, Drew Brees is a guy that gets it done on and off the – and his passing records alone, you know what I mean? If you're top 5 ever all time, I'm sorry, you're going in. You know, because if the 4 guys in front of you or around you are in, you're in company, right? That's why Russell Wilson gets in. You know, I think that's why he gets in. He's got passing records. He's up there.
And he's got the Super Bowl and the MVPs.
Yeah, so, I think so. Baseball is in trouble. I looked at that the other day. They had, you know, a bunch of guys listed. Trout's 30. The future of baseball could be in trouble. You think about some of the young guys that we think are young. They're not as young as we think they are anymore. They might have one more contract in them. Giancarlo Stanton there. Judge, you know, you look, some of these guys 29, 30 years old. And why we sit there and we go, man, yeah, that's still young. Not in the sports world. It's getting younger and younger. So I just want to bring that up because I thought that was an interesting stat. There's 5 or 6 names that I saw, and I'm like, well, oh boy. Because they've been carrying baseball for a couple years. I mean, Mike Trout alone, he's going through injury problems left and right. So,
and there's always in baseball, especially, there's always going to be that young guy that's up and coming, trying to take your spot in baseball. And we're seeing the development of baseball skyrocket, and the 21-year-olds are getting better and better at the game.
Let me ask you a question. We're talking about Hall of Fame. Pete Rose can't get in. Ray Lewis, first ballot. That's tough. I mean, Pete Rose, did he cheat? I don't know. I mean, did he say? I think he said it just to get that on his way because it didn't work by saying he didn't the entire time, denying it. But Ray Lewis has his demons in his closet.
Yeah, a lot of people in the Hall of Fame do.
Yeah,
especially in the NFL Hall of Fame.
And you look at that and you go, how does that guy get in? But the greatest hitter of all time, arguably, does not.
Yeah, I think it's the baseball culture.
That's tough, man.
And it's like this whole, like the unwritten rules in baseball. Like we've banned you. We don't want to go. Baseball doesn't like to admit that they were wrong about something. And they would never I feel like they would never admit they were wrong about Pat Rose.
No, because they're old.
Pete Rose.
They're old.
Right.
And that's one of the crazy things. When you don't argue with grandpa, right? Because grandpa is going to tell you a story and he's going to tell it different the next time you talk to him. Sometimes the older crowd don't remember things necessarily the way they happen because over time our mind plays tricks on us and we start getting little intricacies of the story that either add to it or are taken away from it. I think if you went brass tacks today and Pete Rose or someone did the same thing, he's in the Hall of Fame. But I think you're right. I think
it's funny how life works. I feel like the young and this is general, the young and old see things more black and white, and then there's like 30 years in between where you start to see there are gray areas in life.
Well, because you're looking. I mean, I'm kind of there, right? I'm at 36, and I see. Okay, I see what the older generation talks about when they say, "Oh, these kids," right?
Right.
But I also I see the other side where it's like these kids. So the argument would be the older generation, nobody wants to work anymore. And the younger generation says, we can get it done faster, more efficiently than you ever did. So the older generation sees rolling up your sleeves and doing, cutting down trees and changing your own tire and doing, changing your own oil as working.
A badge,
yeah, it's that badge of honor. Whereas the younger generation says, okay, I can type it up, do what I need to do in the digital world before you can even end a rotary dial phone. That's the difference. It's faster. We live in a quick, fast, and in a hurry world that the older generation can't necessarily keep up with, but they see the younger generation as lazy And I'm kind of sitting here in the middle just going, I mean, that's where it's at. So, like, when the older generation of baseball writers eventually pass on, I'm interested to see who gets in. Will they let Pete Rose in? Will they let Mark McGuire in? Will they let Barry Bonds in?
A-Rod.
A-Rod should be in.
Right. As much
Barry
as I
Bonds
don't
should
like
be
the
in.
dude.
Like, I'm sorry. Baseball abused the system, and now they're giving the finger to these guys that they rode like secretariat. You know, like I don't think it's right what baseball has done. And that's why baseball, while many will say that they are in a state of growth, I will argue that all day, because I think baseball is in a state of guys like me can't quite let go yet because we're hoping that it turns it around. Baseball's having a tough time. It really is. If we're coming down to bat flips to keep people coming in the seats, and that's excitement, it's over. It's dead. Because look at what they're doing in the NFL right now. They're talking about taunting. How long until we talk about taunting? And if that's what we're hanging our hat on is the bat flips, it's done. Dead in the water, man. Sunk my battleship.
I caught myself in one of these moments because you bring up Pete Rose. Yesterday we were talking about Reggie Bush, and I was adamant that I don't think he could get his Heisman because there were rules in place. He knew what the rules were, actively broke them. Now the rules have been repealed, but we can't just go back and say you didn't break the rules. But then Ty goes, well, then should Pete Rose be in the Hall of Fame? And I just went, it's an interesting dichotomy. But I mean, like, I still kind of feel like I don't want to give Reggie Bush this his Heisman just because we've decided that the rules that were in place back then aren't really necessarily rules anymore or arbitrary. I feel like you knew what the rules were, you broke them, and you have to deal with the consequences.
I have a hard time with, like, when they strip championships and they strip Heismans and they strip all these, like, you can't block the memories that happened during that season.
Right, and I think that's why you didn't strip any of the wins USC had with Reggie Bush. You just kind of stripped his
UConn got some of their championships stripped, or who was it in the NCAA? Because they had players. Was it Michigan? Was it the Fab Four or Fab? What was it? Fab Four, Fab Five?
No, because they never won because the Chris Webber called the timeout.
I feel like they stripped games away.
It's definitely happened.
So who cares?
Games and individual accomplishments are different to me.
I mean, there's nothing like seeing your team win a championship,
right?
Right? There's nothing like seeing your team lose a championship. But at the end of the day, like, hey, we're taking your Heisman Trophy. Okay.
I was still the best running back in the
run the
country.
tape back.
Right.
I'm still holding it. Like, are they gonna go over top and like take it out of his hands in the video?
Doctor all the videos.
Yeah,
It doesn't exist anymore.
Who was even in the running that year?
I think Matt Leinart was in there with him, Vince Young.
Okay. Well, Vince Young probably would have won the Heisman. Good job, Vince. Congratulations.
He did well in the NFL.
I don't know. I think it's fun. It's just it's one of those things where, like, when you don't know what to do as a commissioner or as a leader, you know you have to penalize them just for apathy of the fans. You go, well, we're stripping this because you did wrong. It's after the case. It's after the fact. Did they have to serve a 10-year suspension from the college football? Like, that's – you want to get, like, nitty-gritty? That's what happens. That's when you're really slapping them on the hand. Taking away something you already won.
Right.
Like, hey, I got a box full of trophies. Any of you commissioners from the 12U, whenever we were playing baseball, think that I'm not doing a good enough job, come and get my trophies. Like, take it back. I got the memories. Like, nobody can take that away.
What else could the NCAA do to Reggie Bush? Because he graduated, so they can't be like, well, you're ineligible. Right. So at that point.
Like, leave him alone. I mean, Reggie put this on himself, and this is Reggie's way of making himself relevant again. Like, the dude has, like, what has he done? What has he done for anybody or anything? Like, is he even a analyst?
He's a Fox analyst, I think.
Shocker. Like, come on, Reg.
All that aside, it just still rubs me the wrong way that he think. Well, now he's making it a big deal because they've repealed the rule, and I'm still, a part of me is still like, well, you knew what the rule was, you still broke it, and it doesn't change that fact.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a good argument with Rose. I don't know how to even start with that one. Just the fact that,
Well, see, I'm not a baseball historian like some people that used to host this show.
Ty. Oh, wait a minute.
And I use historian with air quotes.
He's sure not. He might be a bullpen guy, but he's one hell of a closer. Let me tell you.
I don't even. Did they prove that Pete Rose cheated on his own team? I mean, I know he sports bet, but I think the thing is,
I don't think they ever proved it, and I don't see the problem with betting on your own team. Betting against your team, problem.
Right.
Big problem. Betting on your team, no problem. I'll bet on my team openly and say, listen, us against the world, I'm doubling down on us. How is that wrong? How is betting on your team wrong? Vince Vaughn did it in dodgeball, won $1 zillion.
Right.
Beat Globo Gym.
I can't answer that. I think it probably went back to the Black Sox and the scandals that baseball had to deal with back when they were owned by kind of really shady characters, and they probably tried to get the money out of there. But
I gotta take this call real quick.
At that day and age, I don't know what the big deal is with betting on your own team. DJ has a good point. So at that point, we'll take a break, and we'll be back on this Thursday edition of Running Point live on YSNLive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Hubbard Chevrolet. Hubbard can help you get the financing you need regardless of your situation. I'm Tony Page, and I've helped thousands of customers in Northeast Ohio and Western Pennsylvania buy a vehicle. Bad credit, no problem. I can get you approved for a low-interest loan and maybe even a low-payment lease on a new car at the #1 Chevy dealership in Trumbull County for 3 years in a row. Visit HubbardChevy.com to get pre-approved or come see me, Tony Page, to get a new vehicle today. Remember, folks, Hubbard can help.
When looking for home design inspiration, don't just be inspired, be Baird inspired. Whether new or remodeling, Baird Brothers has the latest trends like shiplap to refresh your home. Go from inspiration to installation with our wide selection of in-stock American hardwoods. From the rustic charm of antique oak to the warmth of traditional cherry, Baird Brothers has what you need to make your home inspiring. Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
When Mother Nature starts flexing her muscles, make sure you're prepared for comfort. For over a decade, NDC Heating and Cooling has been sending their team of experienced, certified, and knowledgeable technicians to service the area. NDC services all makes and models and carries a wide selection of furnaces, air conditioners, and indoor air quality products. To schedule an appointment, call 330-457-2562. That's 330-457-2562. For all your residential and commercial heating and cooling needs in Columbiana or Mahoning counties, call NDC Heating and Cooling in New Waterford, Ohio, where our thermostat is always set on quality.
At Greenwood Chevrolet, shop with confidence knowing we're ready to go the extra mile for you. With the largest selection of used vehicles in the Valley, backed by the Greenwood Advantage Warranty. Every one of our vehicles has undergone our own 126-point inspection, so it passes the most important inspection, yours. No other dealership has the extra inventory, gives you extra for your trade, and goes the extra mile for you. Only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Welcome back to the Thursday edition of Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. They go the extra mile for you, as you heard them say in the ad spot right before we came back on. Want to thank Greenwood Chevrolet and all the wonderful sponsors of Running Point for all they do, and also the wonderful sponsors of YSN. Football season is right around the corner. There's still a little bit of time for you to get on the advertisement plan before football season starts. If you're interested in advertisement, there are many ways to get in contact with us. You can message any of our social media platforms. You can message DJ personally, dj.yoakley@ysnlive.com. You can message email info@ysnlive.com. You can also go to ysnlive.com, find the advertisement tab, and fill out that form, and we'll get back to you with that. But it's a wonderful way to expose your business to so many eyes. We had over 19,000 total live game broadcasts from August to August, the kind of season, I should say, year, whatever you want to call the school year. So that you're on every game, your commercials run, your logos run, as you see on the bottom of our screen, about every 8 seconds. So the amount of exposure you get as a company, the value is way up, and we can't thank all of our sponsors enough for all they do. And once again, if you want to sponsor on YSN, you still got some time before football season starts. So as we hit the final stretch of today's show, want to talk a little bit about the Little League World Series, softball and baseball, because baseball is getting close to getting to the finals. Softball has started their Little League World Series currently. Last night, man, I watched this pitcher for Virginia, and Jenna Kiefer, and if you are someone that loves softball as much as I do and watch the college game, keep that name in your memory bank for about the next maybe she's probably 12 or 13, 6 years. Well, let's say 6 years when she gets into college. One of the more developed drop balls I've seen from a 12-year-old in a long time. She had 14 strikeouts last night in their game. Just incredible. I mean, drop movement is something that you don't see a lot from a young age. You'll see the fastball develop, and that's the first thing if you're teaching your daughter to pitch in softball. Just start with the fastball. It's I see way too many 10, 11-year-olds say that I'm developing a drop curve when they can't throw a fastball yet. Let's walk before we run. So the fastball comes first, and then you probably naturally get a little bit of a rise movement first. You try to develop the rise ball a little bit. To see a drop ball like hers at 12 years old is something that you do not see often. And if you haven't seen the video, it's just the down movement, and then the change of speeds that she's able to bring into her pitching is just it's really incredible to watch. If you're a softball fan, she went from probably 12 miles per hour difference between her changeup and her fastball. She does have a little bit of rise on her fastball, so she's going to be able to work both sides of the zone when she develops more and more as a pitcher. And it's just, man, so fun to watch the youth of softball right now, and we're getting ready to watch the youth of baseball here pretty soon. And I can't wait for the Little League World Series. I think it's one of the more fun events to watch, not just on TV, but to see the engagement and the social media engagement from these platforms that kind of shine the light on Little League World Series. Their Twitter, by the way, whoever runs the Little League World Series Twitter, hats off to them, because they do a wonderful job in cutting highlights and making these kids feel like $1 million sometimes. But it's just a really fun time of year when you get to watch the Little League World Series, both on the softball diamond and on the baseball diamond. We saw a lot of fun action last night on both sides. The Little League World Series right now is on ESPN Plus for the baseball. Softball is starting to get onto the bigger networks because they're, of course, going towards their finals. So definitely check that out if you are looking for something to watch in the next couple of days. The ESPN does a great job of putting their main softball announcers on these trips. So the Amanda Scarboroughs, the Jessica Mendozas, the Michelle Smiths, they all go out and they put just as much energy into calling and broadcasting these young kids as they do the most elite players in the world with the College World Series. One that I want to speak about too, because it's something that you don't see too often. Members of the media and members of the broadcasters. I know a lot of people would look at an assignment like the Little League World Series and be like, even with as big as it is and how much ESPN kind of uses it, I feel like there are times when I hear an announcer, especially at the regional level, where they're maybe one step away from the World Series, where you can tell they're just not as excited to be there as you might see them be excited for the college game or something like that. It just doesn't happen for these softball announcers. They do a really good job. Amanda Scarborough, who is on YSNLive.com in the spring, by the way. So friend of YSN, definitely someone that I've talked to before. She goes from the top of the softball world and doing the Women's College World Series in June. And she was doing not just the regional championships, but the regional qualifiers for the Little League World Series, going down to Texas and calling those and bringing just as much energy to the booth for those games as she would not just the World Series and the college games, but as she would for the games that we're seeing now in the championships. And getting broadcasters that have a passion for the sport and have a passion for the growth of the sport can be just as critical as coaching and youth development camps and everything like that. Because when these kids watch the game on TV and they see their own peers, they take a lot from that. So if they watch a game on ESPN or on whatever platform, and it's their own peers playing, and the guys are just going 50% or barely excited, then it kind of loses a little bit of passion for the kids too, because they go, well, if they're not excited about it, and we're not getting the DJ said it, we're getting into this social media world where they want to see themselves, they want to be talked about, and it can really dampen a little bit of passion for the sport when they see their peers on TV and it's just not there. But softball doesn't have to worry about that. And that's a good thing for the sport. So when you talk about the Little League World Series and baseball too, they have great announcers on ESPN now. And you love to see it. You love to see the excitement and the building of the programs, the building of these regional Little League programs, and one of the most exciting parts of the summers is seeing the little kids and seeing the future of the sport grow up right in front of your eyes on these diamonds in the Little League World Series. So very excited about that. And we had a couple of teams get close. I mean, Canfield went all the way to the regional finals in I believe they went to Indiana. Yeah, they went to Indiana. 9 states in the was it the central region? Central region. Maybe the Northeast region. Either way, they went all the way there. They were about one game away from getting to the finals that would have put them to where this level now. So, we have softball and baseball teams just in the area that are at the cusp of getting to this level. And, you have to apply that to what they're able to see on TV. It's phenomenal work from everybody involved. And it's really one of the many reasons why we're seeing the growth of the sport of softball and baseball, not just in the area, but in the whole country as a whole. Couldn't say enough about how fun it is to watch these young kids do what they do on the level. We got to do it on YSN, which we talked to DJ about, and it's nice to go back to the innocence a little bit of youth baseball and be able to treat the kids that are playing just for the love of the game with the passion and respect that they deserve. And DJ got to call a lot of Little League World Series and Little League games, not World Series. That would be a dream come true. A lot of Little League games, and he brought just as much passion, energy, and excitement and drive into those broadcasts as he would if he was doing a state championship game. That's something that you gotta have. You gotta have it in the national realm. And we're seeing, and the greatest point of this whole spiel, we're seeing more and more announcers kind of get that. And that's what's exciting because, like I said, in years past, you would watch the Little League World Series, especially the regional championships, and you could tell it was more of a chore for these announcers to be there than it was a privilege. And now we're getting announcers that, whether it be the play-by-play, Beth Mowens, some of the other softball play-by-plays that have done high-level college games, that are doing these Little League World Series games, that are invested in the sports growth, not just the color commentators, which of course are either former players, coaches, whatever it may be, that are of course interested in the growth of the sport. But now the play-by-play commentators are filling in and really pouring into the growth of the sport by getting energetic and passionate about the sports they're covering, and doing it at the youth level. And we're seeing more and more play-by-play announcers really step up for these Little League games, and being able to watch it for the last month, whether it be on ESPN Plus or the ESPN family of networks, has been really a positive experience. And it's one of the ones where you just watch and you go, wow, this is one of the reasons why the sport is growing. And just to bring back full circle, we talked about Kiefer and her pitching. Now, because of social media, she gets to see all these legends of her sport, Kat Osterman, Monica Abbott, pitchers that have just been in the Olympics. And you see the commentators like Amanda Scarborough feature you on your page, and you get to see Michelle Smith talk about you on the Twitter page. Man, that's got to be so important for the growth of the sport, and you see it in all the sports too. I mean, I'm specifically talking about softball because it's the one in the light right now. But the adaptation of social media and the way that the commentators and the personalities on the sports broadcasting side, the way that they use social media to shine a light on the young generation of the sport, has become more and more prevalent with the advancement of social media. And, maybe I'm biased because I'm a social media director and I use my job to be a social media guy. But it's one of the things that really back ends my idea that social media doesn't have to be a bad thing. I really get frustrated when people just blame everything on social media, and it's not social media the problem. It's the way people use social media. DJ said it earlier on the show. You can either be using social media as a tool, or you can look like a tool using social media. And then when you use it right and you do what you're supposed to do on it, and you have people that know how to use it, it's a great benefit to you and the people that follow you. So we'll take another timeout, be back to wrap this one up on Running Point, Thursday edition, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
At Greenwood Chevrolet, shop with confidence knowing we're ready to go the extra mile for you. With the largest selection of used vehicles in the Valley, backed by the Greenwood Advantage Warranty. Only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
New things happen all day. Some are good, some not so good. In today's complicated world, while you're busy working, playing, and living life, we're busy helping you make sense of the day's news. And there's only one place where it comes together with clarity, context, and accountability. It's 21 News at 6 with me, Madison Tromler, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 6. It's what the day's news really means to you.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring. And, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Hi, this is Jim Myers with Myers Family Insurance, your local Medicare and retirement resource.
We're excited to have sports back. Whether you're on the field or cheering from the stands, sports unifies communities and brings hope for the future. We're all one team working together. At Myers Family Insurance, we know the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is October 15th through December 7th. Now's the time to make sure your plan continues to meet.
Welcome back to the Thursday edition of Running Point on YSNLive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig with you. I want to thank our guests on the show today. We had the captains of the Lakeview volleyball team, Maggie Pavlansky and Carly Hahn, join us. We also had the head coach of the Poland boys soccer team, Brian Garkar. And we also want to thank Angela Jones, the head coach of the Springfield volleyball team as well. Springfield volleyball, Poland boys soccer, and Lakeview volleyball all featured on today's show. Want to give them a thank you. And tomorrow we are going to have the head volleyball coach of the Salem Quakers, Casey Costello, join us at 12:15. Ty also back on the show tomorrow as we start our volleyball previews. Just like we did football, we're going to break down every team in our coverage map and then what they lost, what they're bringing back, and kind of what to expect from the teams on the volleyball side of things. That will be tomorrow when we start that. We're going to break it down by divisions. So we'll be talking about Division I volleyball tomorrow, along with having Casey Costello on the air at 12:15, head coach of the Salem Quakers. So don't miss that tomorrow. Power Hour coming up next from 3 to 4 on YSNLive.com. I'm Anthony Hartwig, and have a wonderful rest of the day. We're going on a 23-and-a-half-hour break. We'll be back tomorrow to wrap up the week. Me and Ty. And this was Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Have a wonderful rest of the evening.